Towing and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robby and Rexrode.
Chase and Michelle.
Caroline, Willie, D-Base.
Dominic Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
102.5 and 106.3.
Cranks it, he scores.
Sides of the one big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun.
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
And welcome into the Tuesday edition of Robby and Rexrode. 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode. Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Hope everybody's doing well. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you?
Chipper, how are you?
Chipper as well. Michelle, good morning. How are you doing?
Not as chipper, but maybe when the coffee kicks in about 45 minutes, a little bit more chipper.
Joe,
It'll take that long?
Wow.
Listen, I swear that coffee doesn't work on me anymore because I just drink so much of it. I've become very tolerant.
I know the feeling.
There you go. Joe, how much experience do you have kicking extra points?
Oh my goodness. I have made some extra points in my life. It was from like the 2-yard line, but
With a cig in your mouth?
I don't think I did that with a cig in my mouth, but man, that was getting weird last night.
It passed weird. 4 missed extra points last night. It's a good thing it didn't come down to that at all for the Dallas Cowboys. We'll get into that game specifically and what it could mean for the future of Tom Brady coming up here in just a few minutes on the show. But we begin with the Nashville Predators last night. They win 2-1 against the Calgary Flames, a game where, quite frankly, Joe, I think heading into it, they probably needed to have it last night just based on the standings and where things are sitting right now. We talked about it yesterday. Calgary's in the wild card spot. At the time that we were doing the show yesterday, they were 7 points up on the Predators, and the Predators get an important 2 points last night. They win 2-1, 2 goals in the first period, one by Roman Josi and the second by Juuso Parssinen. And really after that, the Predators had some good looks. I thought played well through the first couple of periods. Not as well in the third period. Took some penalties, and it looked like Calgary had tied the game. But Tyler Toffoli, a kicking motion with the puck, and the Predators hold on with a 2-1 win last night. What did you think of the Preds last night?
Yeah, well, much needed win, and they actually had some really good opportunities. That it could have been a much more comfortable game. Really good first period, I thought. Exactly what they needed. And then, of course, Calgary's desperate in that third period. And it's funny because I know this was on my mind because I've been writing something about Saros. I don't think did anyone even mention Saros post game, like Hines post game? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think it was brought up because it's like, yeah, 38 saves, ridiculous 4-on-3, and he's just all over the place, just somehow, stopping every one of those pucks, I mean, he's obviously the key to the whole thing, and he was great again. But I think also it was an encouraging performance in some ways, and they just badly needed the wins. So now they gotta get back towards stacking the wins.
Yeah, I thought they came out really strong in the game. I thought their first period was very good, and they controlled the play. I thought they had a couple of really good looks in the first part of the first period, and even in the third period, they took some bad penalties, like the Cole Smith penalty. When you're 200 feet away from your own net, you can't take a tripping penalty in the offensive zone behind the net. I mean, it was just a brutal penalty that you cannot take. And then right after that, Tanner Jeannot compounds it by sending the puck over the glass, and you're thinking, my goodness, they've got 1 minute and 40 seconds of a 5-on-3 power play they're going to have to kill off. And then luckily, Rasmus Anderson of the Flames high stick someone, and all of a sudden that was nullified into a 4-on-3. But I thought beyond the penalties that they took in the third period, they had some good looks. I mean, I don't know what happened down there towards the end of the third period where it was like a play with Johansson and Duchesne, and Markstrom got taken out of the net, and then Forsberg had the wide open net and put it off the side of the post. I mean, it was wild there at the end of the game. But the Predators, I thought the jump was good last night. And in the first period, you get the penalty kill. Colton Sissons leads the rush kind of down that side of the ice in transition, and Juuso Parssinen comes in and finishes it off. And he's got points in 7 games in a row, and he tied Philip Forsberg last night, his rookie record for point streak by a Predators rookie. So anytime you're in a conversation with Philip Forsberg, you're doing something right as a rookie. And John Hines spoke last night about the play of Juuso Parssinen and Cody Glass, both of which I thought were really good last night, and you can see the confidence that they're playing with. And I asked John Hines about that after the game last night. Here's what Predators head coach John Hines had to say.
Those two specifically, how much has confidence do you think allowed them to have some of their skill come out on a more consistent basis?
It's a funny thing, Robbie, when you talk about confidence. Like they've earned it. I mean, they've been really consistent in their play. I think they're bringing their attributes. They're playing pretty well on both sides of the puck, and I think that they're thriving in the roles. They're earning the opportunities they get. We've stayed pretty consistent with them of giving them the opportunities to be able to play, and sometimes they might have an off night. But the thing that's been really encouraging with the two of them is that usually if there's an off night or you see something in their game that needs to be a little bit better, I think their self-assessment is really good. They accept coaching well, and it doesn't linger, and that's encouraging to see with both of them.
So that was John Hines after the game last night. Obviously, I mean, the point total for Parssinen speaks for itself. You're on a 7-game point streak, so he's playing really well. I mean, I thought last night that he was really good once again. I know that Cody Glass did not technically get on the score sheet last night. I thought he was excellent.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was excellent last night. And, the first goal was him driving to the net and taking, by the way, a much bigger body with him in Nikita Zadorov. And Yossi does a great job to kind of take a half step up on the one-timer and get the puck on the net. And it went off somebody in front. I don't know if it went off Cody Glass or not. They've not switched it to this point, so I guess it went off Zadorov. But Cody Glass is creating the goal there. And then, I think it was shortly after that, he made a play kind of along the wall where he and Philip Forsberg were together kind of on the rush, and he cut back to the inside, put the puck through his legs right on the tape to Forsberg, and you're like, man, that's a dude playing with some confidence. He made another one-touch pass kind of heading into the zone in the second period in the game that set up a good chance as well. I mean, I think Parssinen and Glass are playing really well right now for this team, and you talk about young forwards. I mean, we've spent a lot of time talking about Eeli Tolvanen and the goal scoring that he's done, and deservedly so, and we've talked a lot about Philip Tomasino. I do think the more I watch them play, the more I think if you're Predators fans, you should be excited about what you're seeing from Juuso Parssinen and Cody Glass. I thought they were really good last night.
Yeah, no, I think they've got something in both of them. And you mentioned some of those Glass plays. He also just has some skating moments out there, where I mean, he's very skilled. He's skilled, he's crafty, and Parssinen makes some passes. I mean, he's even last night that didn't lead to anything, but just the way he sees the ice, you can kind of see that with him. He's also I think a really confident player, big strong player. So I agree. I mean, I think those are two guys to build on for sure, and they need that badly. They need more good stories. Last year, it was Tanner Jeannot, and he's still plugging away and hanging in there. But like you said, there's so much focus right now on Tolvanen and what he's doing in Seattle and what happened and all that stuff. But you can't miss that these two young forwards are impressing and are signaling that they could be key players. And of course, the Glass thing is, everybody knows the story about making the team and all that, but you go back to what he was thought of as a prospect and then the injuries and everything. I mean, it's been there, it's just a matter of can someone can he get healthy and can he get his confidence back? And it looks like that's definitely happening.
Yeah, it does. And I think those two – I do think when you look at the way that they play the game, like Cody Glass, they gave him an opportunity in the top 6 earlier this year. It didn't go well for a few games, and for whatever reason, he's kind of reset himself. And now, like I just think the confidence is pretty clear, and that's freed him up offensively. Like he's making plays where – I mean, he made 2 or 3 plays last night, Joe, where I was like, yep, that's why he was taken 6th overall in the draft. I mean, he can make plays like that. So if you can free that up a little bit and get some of those plays to come out a little bit more consistently offensively, I think you may have something there. And then Parsonen, Hines made an interesting comparison to him last night, and I get what he's talking about because it's pretty similar when you think about it. But he talked about having Nico Hischier in New Jersey, and of course that was the number 1 overall pick that he had in New Jersey. But he was talking about just physically, like the attributes that Hischier brings to the table, a bigger guy that's physically ready to play in the NHL at a young age, and was talking about that with Parsonen too. And you got to keep in mind, like Parsonen, they found him late in the draft. If he turns into what it's looking like he could turn into, which I don't think is going to be like some superstar player or anything like that, but I think a really good, solid player for the Predators, that's a heck of a find in Juuso Parsonen. And right now, I mean, first off, the production speaks for itself, but secondly, the size, the speed, the vision, and the passing ability, I think as he continues to stick around in the league, he's got a chance to be pretty good.
60-point player?
I think he could be. Yeah, I think he absolutely could be, which, I know is not Connor McDavid, but you'll take a 60-point player when you can find one. We're off and running here today on Robby and Rexrode, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. What do you make of the play of Cody Glass and Juuso Parsonen? Have the Predators found some young forwards to build on? And what did you think of the Preds' win last night against Calgary? We'll have more on that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Every Wednesday at noon.
No matter the down and distance and no matter the score, they're going to give him the football.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
I hope that they're not throwing flags simply because the league wants to see more of them.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
They are not as good at wide receiver and the playmaking department.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon. Presented by Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars and by Edley's Barbecue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off or get 18 months of no payments. So the first payment is not until spring of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
After redshirting his first year at Ohio State, Joe Burrow spent the next 2 years as J.T. Barrett's backup. With Dwayne Haskins on the roster, Burrow didn't see much playing time and decided to transfer. LSU head coach Ed Orgeron zeroed in on Burrow and landed him. In his second season at LSU, Burrow led the Tigers to a 15-0 record, a national championship, and arguably the best season ever by a college quarterback.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
Teams that win college bowls have great recruits, and great recruiting starts with great conversations. That's why when you post a job for free, LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 875 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down to only the most qualified candidates, which means you can start hiring the right people faster. Go to linkedin.com/sports to post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
And now a small business setback is assessed by a beloved family pediatrician.
Oh, hey, Tiger. Big scary tree branch give your work truck a boo-boo? Yeah. Wow. See this thing on my phone here? It's the Progressive mobile app. Just push that little button there and report your claim. Attaboy.
When owning a small business gets painful, Progressive Commercial is here to make it all better. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com.
What's this? Candy drawer? Who wants a lollipop?
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions. Photo claims not available in all states or situations.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah, and like us on Facebook, too. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. Taking your thoughts on the Predators, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Preds win last night, 2-1 against the Calgary Flames. They'll be back at it tonight as they take on the Columbus Blue Jackets at Bridgestone Arena. So this game, a makeup game from one of the games we lost around Thanksgiving because of the water main break around Bridgestone Arena. So a back-to-back home set tonight for the Predators. And discussing the play of Juuso Parssinen and Cody Glass, two young forwards for the Predators that have played really well as of late, have been elevated in their roles. Parssinen getting a lot of time on the power play. Last night was generating offense with, Cole Smith on one wing, had Colton Sissons on the other wing, and I thought Parssinen at times was maybe the best player on the ice for the Predators last night. So really encouraging stuff from the two young forwards that we've seen over the last little bit. And Joe, going back to like the big picture conversation of the Predators that we have so often, that's what you're going to have regardless of which way they move forward. If they keep things together and they're trying to, squeak into the playoffs and trying to build on that, and they have no interest in rebuilding or anything like that anytime soon, you're going to need some younger guys to come in on the fly and to keep that window open. Conversely, like if you do eventually go the retool, rebuild route, whatever it needs, you need younger guys to accelerate that. And look, I'm not saying that I've seen enough from Cody Glass yet that makes me think that he's going to be like some franchise player that they drafted him to be back in Vegas with the 6th overall pick. But I do think, based on what we've seen from training camp until now, I think it's been a very encouraging step forward from Cody Glass from where he was certainly last year, but now to this point, even from the growth from October to now this year, I think it's pretty evident. Parssinen could end up being a diamond in the rough that they found. And if you factor in eventually, at some point, maybe the return of Philip Tomasino to the lineup, which I think is going to happen at some point this year. Maybe 3 younger guys at the forward position that maybe can do something for you as you move forward here if you're the Predators.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up Tomasino. I'm still interested in that and when that might happen and where he might fit in. I still feel like this lineup could still use more scoring, more skill for sure. But yeah, look, they need stories like this, of course. And it's funny because I feel like sometimes, like with a Tolvanen, because of the hype, and I understand he's producing now.
Yep.
But I think because of the hype and the draft and all the things that preceded him coming here, I think there was a little bit of an inflated view relative to just what we saw from him on the ice. And again, if he just keeps this going, then I'm going to have to step back and say, man, I was just wrong, because eventually I was like, there's just limitations with that guy. So I think sometimes that can, that can affect like how a player is perceived. And, that's sort of the same thing with Glass, but it seems like right now we may be seeing Glass really starting to, like you said, illustrate why. He's got size. He's a tremendous skater. Like you said, he just has a feel, and he makes some plays out there that are like, oh, whoa, that's not just your average run-of-the-mill hockey play. Now that's, you still got to be able to have the bread and butter, and that's kind of what Hines talked about early this season when he was matching him up with some of the other top centermen, and he wasn't up to it. But now that he appears to sort of have that handled and be up to the task physically, everything else is coming out. I don't know where it might go. But I think when you think about it again, like you said, what was he supposed to be? It's easy to let.
And I thought that line was really good the whole game.
Yeah.
And that, obviously he's a big part of that. If you're the centering that line, anytime you're playing with Philip Forsberg, you'll probably take that as a centerman. But I just thought offensively, some of the plays they were able to make last night, and you got to finish on them. I get that. But if they play the way they played last night, they're going to finish on a lot moving forward. And I thought it was really encouraging. Now, you bring up Eeli Tolvanen. He had some interesting comments that came out in an interview with the Hockey News, and he talked about just his role with the Predators. He said, quote, "I always knew that I had the skill and all the details that they wanted, but I was just getting bottom six usage on the fourth line." Also said, quote, "Sometimes they wanted me to be the checker, then one night they wanted me to be the goal scorer." Eeli Tolvanen on his role with the Predators, kind of talking about, I guess, some confusion and just not really knowing exactly what they wanted from him during his time here in Nashville, especially towards the end there. Now, keeping in mind that anytime a situation like this happens where somebody goes somewhere else, there's typically comments like this that are made. And I'm not saying that Eeli Tolvanen is wrong by any stretch of the imagination. I just think it's important to keep that in mind when you discuss this. But nonetheless, some pretty interesting comments from Eeli Tolvanen to the Hockey News about his role, or at least what he perceived his role and the communication of that role to be here in Nashville.
Yeah, like you said, this is not uncommon. I wouldn't call these, scathing or damning or anything, but it's one of those things that you read it, you're like, okay, well, obviously he was a little frustrated. Not surprising. I think, and if there really was confusion about the role, I mean, that's on John Hines. I mean, you got to be clear in communication. I feel like talking about Tolvanen, which happens so often in the last couple of years. I mean, gosh, it seems like they certainly he discussed it enough with us that I can't, you know what I mean? I can't imagine that these things weren't discussed. But this is one of those things that, like, if Tolvanen just tears it up and maintains that, then we will look back at that. We'll look at those comments and we'll look back at just the losing of him, and it's it's not a good thing. And I think if he, again, and I'm still real skeptical about this. I think we saw what he is as a hockey player. He's got a great shot, and he's good enough to be in this league, but I'm going to be really surprised if he maintains this and becomes like this, like, consistent, like 20-30 goal kind of guy. But if he does, then you'll have to look back and say, so what exactly, why were the Preds not able to want to utilize what he had better? And then, also, look, we talked to David Poile about losing him. And I mean, again, I appreciate the frankness from Poile on that situation, but others will agree. Like, I mean, that's a mistake if it works out that way. I'm still very early.
It's still very early, but talking about the young forwards, like if he works out, then all of a sudden maybe the conversation's a little bit different around here if you're the Predators. So I mean, you're looking at it right now, and look, they've got a lot of younger forwards, right? I mean, Cole Smith's in the lineup right now. I mean, they've got a lot of younger guys out there, but dynamic playmakers. How many of those do they have? Like, how many dynamic guys do they have that are younger guys? Like, Tanner Jeannot, he scored 24 last year, and it's been a struggle with him so far. I still think, like, I watched Tanner Jeannot play, and I'm like, man, that guy is huge, and he moves really well. Like, I still think at some point he's going to snap out of it a little bit offensively. I thought he did again last night. He was right there. That's the thing, like that Parsonen goal last night. He's right there on the doorstep. Jeannot's on the other side of the crease, just whacking away at it, and Parsonen's the one that gets to it and puts it in the net. And I'm like, geez, man, guy just can't buy one right now. But they've got some good younger forwards. Trennan, you could put in that category, which, by the way, they have to make a decision on those two guys this offseason as to what they're going to do and how much money they're going to pay him. But if Cody Glass can come in, I think his upside's clearly higher than those two. Yuso Parsonen, I watch him play, and I don't know, there's something about him that I really like. Beyond just the size and the skill, I think there's a little bit of edge there that I also like from Yuso Parsonen that I think I think we've seen come out at times, and I just think he's playing really well right now. Really, really well.
Yeah, no, he seems to have tremendous confidence and be very, got little edge, tough, kind of unaffected, just a big bruising player. I mean, it's a great addition. And look, I mean, you were talking about him during camp. You just never know. Sometimes it's like those guys in camp can look a certain way, and then it's like, still a year or sometimes more away, or it doesn't quite pan out at this level. But I mean, even thinking about what Hines was saying about him before the season, you could kind of tell they were excited. I still, again, I feel like Tomasino has that dynamic skill set that could help this team, but I don't know. At this point, it's just okay. Let's see what happens. I mean, like last night, they were around the net a lot, just like you were describing there. I thought that they were in those hard areas a lot, and they just weren't rewarded. Of course, probably just because I picked Matt Duchene. I mean, I feel like he had several great opportunities, just didn't quite go in. But that's how they need to play. They need to play like that. But there's still they got 2 goals. Ultimately, this team needs more offense. So I would think that they would look to add more at some point, but I don't know. You tell me what's the where does he fit, and what triggers him coming up here?
Well, I mean, right now
or whatever.
Right now he's on a heater down there in Milwaukee, and he's scoring left and right. So, I mean, I would have to think at some point pretty soon he's coming up, and I've been saying that for 43 games at this point. So, couldn't tell you. Well, I guess we'll find out. By the way, we'll be joined by Predators general manager David Poile coming up at 8:30 today, so looking forward to that conversation with him.
I'll ask him.
Yeah, maybe we will. Coming up at 8:30 today here on the program. Coming up next, we'll get into a wild game last night on Monday Night Football between the Cowboys and the Bucks, and really the only wild part about it was why couldn't they kick an extra point after the touchdowns that Dallas scored last night? What does it all mean for Dallas, and what does it mean for the future of Tom Brady after the Buccaneers were eliminated last night in the playoffs? We'll get into all that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Think mortgage rates are still super high? Think again. Rates have plummeted to 5-month lows. Hey, Willie Donick here. Call my friends at Loan Pronto now to see how low rates are. It may be time to do that refi you've been putting off, or time to get back to house hunting. If you're like a lot of people, you've got way too much credit card debt right now, and you're getting fleeced with 20+% interest charges, and that's every month. Or maybe your current home rate is over 6%. Listen, you can get a quick, easy refi at Loan Pronto. Wipe out all those cards, close in about 14 days and cut your overall expenses by $500 a month or more. Right now, Loan Pronto is doing refis with APRs in the 4s. So call now to take advantage of this big rate drop. Get those credit cards to zero. Start that home improvement project or rid yourself of that 7% loan you were forced into last year. Here's the number, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Get in zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination. Get in zone, AutoZone. Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
TSU basketball lives on 102.1 The Ville. Join Coach Brian Petty Collins and the Tigers for every great moment in the OVC. On your home for TSU basketball, 102.1 The Ville and the Ville app.
Hey, this is Philip Forsberg. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. What a night last night for the Dallas Cowboys. They go down to Tampa Bay. They win 31-14 for their first road playoff win since 1992, which is pretty hard to believe, but they get it last night. Their first road playoff win since 1992. Dak Prescott, Joe, was excellent last night. 25 of 33, 4 touchdown passes for Dak, and they win 31-14. The lone spot for the Cowboys where you were shaking your head last night was the performance trying to kick an extra point last night. You know, obviously I had never seen anything like that, and it looks like nobody else has either. 4 missed extra points last night for the Dallas Cowboys after the touchdown. Now, granted, the good news for the kicking game for Dallas is it was 31-14, so the game wasn't close, and you get the blowout win on the road, and now you move on and you try to go take down the 49ers next week. But that was wild last night, watching them miss 4 extra points. And I don't know if you saw this clip, but like Peyton Manning on the Manning cast last night when he missed the 3rd one, it was hilarious. Like it was hilarious to watch last night.
I didn't. It's the, I mean, obviously we're both at the Preds, so I'm just streaming with no sound on the phone and just like, wait, did I see that right? Is that another? It's 18-0? That's 3? Yeah. So no, I've missed all the reaction. I mean, I haven't even seen. I assume that's an NFL record.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, man, wild. I know that I saw the reaction too when he made the. Was it? I guess the 5th one. He made the 5th one, right?
Yeah.
After the and it was.
Way to go, buddy.
A lot of excitement. A lot of excitement for an extra point. But yeah, what does that mean moving forward? That could be real costly. Because I tell you what, you take that away, and the Cowboys looked like a dangerous team.
Yeah,
for sure. They are, they've got a very talented defense, and like you said, Dak was really good. Just breaking the pocket when he needed to, keeping his eyes downfield, huge plays, a lot of big 3rd down passes, and then they're running the ball, and they just absolutely kicked the crap out of Tampa Bay. I mean, it's. I know because Brady's on the team, it's like, I guess that'd still be like the public choice for someone to come out of that awful division. But you think about some of the games that they won that they shouldn't have won, like against the Saints, Falcons, and Panthers, and that's just not a playoff team.
No.
They're just a bad football team. So I guess at least we got rid of them, and we've got a great weekend ahead. But to me, that is a pressure reliever, because a lot of people were thinking, no, watch out, the GOAT, and on the road at night. And I think now there's a little less pressure on them. And I'm really intrigued by this Cowboys-Niners game.
Well, it's a heck of a performance by Dak Prescott. I mean, obviously you get the win, so I think we can officially put the Mike McCarthy stuff to bed now, because that was a heck of a performance last night by the Cowboys. And like you said, I mean, the divisional round is pretty awesome. I mean, you've got the Cowboys and the 49ers, which I think has a chance to be a really good game. The Giants and the Eagles, I'm less convinced has a chance to be a good game, but if the Giants play the way they did this past weekend, you never know. I mean, Daniel Jones is really good, so you've got a divisional matchup there in the divisional round. And then the AFC, Bills and Bengals, which I think everybody's excited about, and then Chiefs and Jaguars. I mean, people talk about this a lot, Joe, but this, I think, pretty much on a yearly basis, a lot of times winds up being the best weekend of football in the NFL is the divisional round, and I'm pretty excited about this one coming up this weekend.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Sweet 16, although I think the second round's the best round, but the Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament, you got just a lot of really good games, a lot of the best teams. I hope the Jaguars can give us a game. I think this would be a perfect weekend if we had Chargers going in there. If you had Justin Herbert, Mahomes in that game, that would be just in terms of excitement level going to a game. But hey,
you'll get fired up by Duval.
I'm not counting them out. I mean, the heck of a comeback from just absolutely getting blown out in that game. By the way, just real, did you see the Joey Bosa stuff?
Oh yeah,
with the officials.
Yeah, I did.
My God. I mean, I get the frustration, but those Bosas, man. Whew. It's like they're not. First of all, I'll be interested to see the fine he gets, because I think it will probably be pretty significant. But the world doesn't revolve around you, Joey Bosa.
It's a good point.
I need to find the video.
It revolves around Nick Bosa.
Yes, it does. Who is still alive and in the playoffs. So
yeah, check it out, Michelle. It's boy, he does not hold back.
He does not hold back. There's no question about that. And now, in the aftermath of the game last night, Joe, the question is, what is next for Tom Brady? And first off, I know the first thing that's next for Tom Brady, hopefully an ice bath. He threw 66 pass attempts last night, so it's a heck of a lot of passing attempts last night for Tom Brady. But obviously, I mean, they mustered up 14 points. It was a game that they just couldn't get anything going offensively. And now you wonder what his future looks like. Is it retirement? Is he done? Does he call it a career and go start his next career with Fox and making a ton of money, $35 million a year, whatever it would be, to commentate on football games with Fox? Or does he look around in free agency and decide to go somewhere else? Look, I don't know. I mean, he basically ended his press conference last night by, thanking Tampa Bay and the organization and how much he loves the organization and the media and respected, all that stuff, and said that he was going to take it day by day, was the quote, as it relates to his future. So really nothing behind the scenes that was really offered up last night by Tom Brady, but now we're officially in Brady watch with the game ending last night.
Yeah, and it's, boy, talk about a polarizing topic, Tom Brady moving forward. And look, within myself, I'm torn because he's 46, man. Like Ryan Clark.
Not yet. 45, 46 in August, Joe. Come on.
Oh, my bad. Ryan Clark for ESPN, who I like his analysis a lot. I mean, he's, sometimes I disagree with him, but his tweet from last night says this, quote, "Honestly, after watching tonight's game, who would want Tom Brady starting on their team next year?" End quote. And there are times I've thought the same thing this year. I did the pregame with Max yesterday before the Preds game, so I was able to enjoy some Jared live.
Oh yeah.
And he was kind of going back and forth with people about Brady, and he, cited all his numbers. And Brady had great numbers this year. Let's remember that the Bucs were often behind this year, and were often. I mean, he threw it 66 times last night, as you said. He was often in a position of just having to throw, and sometimes he threw them back into games. I mean, he had some comebacks this year that were amazing, but also, like, that's a lot of throwing against soft zone coverage, giving you 10, 12 yards. I'm just saying some of those numbers are a little bit empty calories. Also, he had a bad team though. And that's the other side of this is like, well, what do you expect a guy?
Did you just talk about empty
do
calories with Tom Brady?
This year with his numbers? Absolutely.
I'm just making a calorie joke. You missed it. We'll keep going.
Oh, I got you. Yeah,
okay.
That's a fair.
Sorry.
It's okay, Rex. Yeah. It's the 6 a.m. hour.
I should have thought about that. But it's a bad team. So, I mean, it's still Tom Brady. I don't know, man. Look, I thought he was clearly declining 3 years ago, and he goes and just lights up the world and wins the Super Bowl the next year. But 46? Like at some point, you're 46, man. I don't know. I know the way I feel at 50, and so I understand there's a slight difference in lifestyle.
Rex, we love you, but a little different.
A little different, but you know what? There are some things that, regardless of what you do, are inevitable. We are all decaying, okay? We are all rotting corpses. And
he's Benjamin Button.
I don't know. Yeah. I wouldn't say he's getting better. He's still really good, but I mean, there's no doubt people are going to be after him. I'm hesitant after watching again last night. I don't want to be prisoner of the moment, but I thought that a lot this year.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Mark from Nashville. Mark, thanks for calling in.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
What's going on?
What's up, Mark?
How you doing? Hey, Joe. Hey,
hey, buddy.
Divisional rounds. You didn't say anything too much about. It's pretty good. You got 3 teams from the NFC East that's still in the playoffs and stuff. That's pretty strong. As far as Dallas is concerned, Dak kind of has that reputation where he'll have a good game like he did last night, but next week I think the show will end against the 49ers. 49ers will probably win that game big, and I'm going to take Giants against the Eagles in an upset up in Philadelphia. But, Joe, I heard y'all say something last week about the betting that we do with you. For the most part, Joe, it's 14 of us that put in $10 a piece. And for the most part, Joe, the guys that I bet against, they're for Steelman. I'm basically one and another guy on my side that go with you. And we don't bet with Steelman because we don't like Steelman, so we go with you, Joe. But the bet is real, though, Joe. It's true.
Man,
thank you, Mark.
Incredible.
Yeah, y'all have a good day.
You
y'all
too.
have a good day. All right.
You too, man. Now I feel responsible. Like I feel like I have to really try hard to beat Jared now.
You do. It's on you. Plate's on you.
Real quick, by the way, Mark also must read my mind because I was just going to say something about how about the freaking NFC East, which was the worst conference for I don't know how many years.
Long time.
3-4 years.
Oh yeah.
And they got 75% of the divisional round.
It's pretty amazing. 615-737-1025. We'll continue to take your thoughts on our phone and text lines. We'll continue the discussion on Tom Brady's future coming up next. Could the Titans be involved in Tom Brady's future? More of your thoughts on that as well. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Nate Bargatze from Old Hickory to Broadway.
Chuck E. Cheese is rough. I don't know if you've been there in a while. They look like they're trying to go to business and they can't.
All new material.
They filed for bankruptcy and they're still open. They called Blockbuster and they're like, how do you get out? We want out.
Nate Bargatze, Bridgestone Arena, Saturday, April 15th. Tickets available at NateBargatze.com. Don't miss Nate Bargatze from Old Hickory to Broadway. Produced by Outback Presents.
Signs First, Nashville's trusted vehicle wrap and graphics one-stop shop. From one-off custom applications to entire company fleets, Signs First delivers superior quality both locally and nationally since 1991. Be creative. Get noticed. Signs First. Go to sfnash.com.
Hey guys, it's the new year. We popped the champagne, kissed at midnight, and it's time to make a new start. But if you aren't popping like you used to because of erectile dysfunction or low testosterone, maybe your new start should be making a call to the Tennessee Men's Clinic. You see, ED is just a medical condition affecting men of all ages. But the good news is that ED is highly treatable. In fact, the medical experts at the Tennessee Men's Clinic have successfully treated thousands of men, with ED treatments having success rates as high as 90%. And with a variety of ED treatment options, including acoustic wave therapy, they can likely find the right one for you. You might even find your cork is popping like it hasn't in years. Plus, their low T treatments are highly effective. So many men have experienced life-changing results, from increased energy to more productive workouts, feeling more rested, and enjoying a greater sex drive too. So make 2023 the year you get free of ED and low T. Make an appointment. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes a more comprehensive approach, including a testosterone lab panel and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatment sex drive results vary.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
A show that lives and breathes sports.
Focus in, focus in, focus in.
From the SEC.
Credit to the Alabamas, the Georgias, and the Ohio States of the world.
To the Preds.
They've been in a lot of really tight games, but they're not winning enough of them.
To the Titans.
He's talking about what this franchise has built over the years.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
What is this? Check it out.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Let's do it.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. We'll have Caroline Fenton from Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace coming up at 7 o'clock. So looking forward to that conversation with her. Preds General Manager David Poyle joining us later in the show at 8:30. Let's go to our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Matthew from Jolton on the text line says, if we get Brady, I'll be the first person in line to buy a jersey and season tickets. Fingus on the text line says, we already made the mistake of passing on Brady once. Let's not do that again. This is from Uncle Fingus on the text line. Joe Rexrode.
I mean, I think, like, seriously, like, Brady could be, 64 and there'd still be like, oh, man, I don't know. I feel like, it's the GOAT. It's Brady. Again, I'm not saying he's not still good. He's still good, okay? But I also, when you talk about passing on him, we talked about this yesterday. I don't think Brady's going to pick the Titans. He's still going to be friends with Mike Vrabel if he doesn't, pick the Titans. If the Titans are indeed interested in him, which, again, like I said the other day, like, yeah, if Brady, then okay, that's one thing. And then I watched last night, and I'm like, at some point, like, you fall apart. You're about to be 46. I'm just going to keep saying it. 40-freaking-6. Like, George Blanda was still in the league, but he was like just a kicker, and he was making extra points and smoking cigarettes on the sideline. Like, legitimately smoking cigarettes on the sideline.
Yeah. I hear you. First off, this entire conversation depends on a couple of things. Number one, what does Tom Brady want to do? Does he want to retire? Does he want to go somewhere else? And we talked yesterday about the different landing spots that, to me, make a whole lot more sense than the Tennessee Titans do. So, we're talking, in my opinion, about a very remote chance of this happening anyway. But secondly, what direction are the Titans going? Like, are the Titans trying to be as competitive as humanly possible next year? Are they trying to get back to competing for a Super Bowl? If they are, then great. How do you go about doing that? How do you rebuild the offensive line, the receiving core, all those different things that we talk about regardless of who the quarterback is? But if they are, then yeah, I'd consider it. Like, I would take Tom Brady right now over Ryan Tannehill. I would. Am I crazy because he's 46? Maybe. But I would. I would take Tom Brady right now over Ryan Tannehill. And that doesn't change to me even based on what I saw last night. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that if Brady's going to continue to play, it'll be somewhere else where he feels like he's got a better chance to win a Super Bowl. But a lot of this depends on not only what Brady wants to do as he moves forward, but what do the Titans want to do? Like, are they willing to run it back to the point where they would consider dumping Ryan Tannehill and the salary that comes with it, which, as we pointed out, Joe, is doable this year, certainly more doable than it was a year ago, but it's still not necessarily cheap to do. I mean, you're talking about almost $18 million in dead money if you move on from Ryan Tannehill. Are they willing to do that to go get somebody like Tom Brady? Maybe they are, but I don't think it's something that you can just automatically assume about the Titans.
No. Well, and of course they could possibly trade him, and then it would be less painful, of course, and maybe that's possible too. And look, I can't sit here and argue with you and say, no, I would take Tannehill over Tom Brady. I can't make that argument. I wouldn't make that argument. But again, I've thought quite a bit this year that, I mean, even last night, man, I know maybe some of it's communication or whatever here and there, but he missed some throws that were just like, man, how do you miss that throw? How do you make that decision, throw that pick in the end zone? But I can't sit here and say, no way, man, I'd take Tannehill. I do think that some of it also is, are we talking about just like 1 year? 1 year, you do everything you can, and this is it, because this is like, technically Tannehill's last deal. Or is there some thought about, like, could Ryan Tannehill get another deal and be here for the next few years? Like, if, and that's the thing, it's so hard to plan for your next quarterback if you're going to do everything you can to compete next year, which I think is what they're going to do. So if that's the case, then I think about it a little bit differently. Like, because I'm sorry, but like, Brady's not going to be your quarterback when he's 48, man. Right?
Probably not.
So now Tannehill could be a similar level of quarterback as he is now for the next 4 or 5 years, potentially, right?
That's pushing it to me.
Okay, well, okay. So Brady's just a cyborg. I
feel
like quarterbacks in general. Yeah, but I feel like quarterbacks. He's not the only quarterback who is kind of pushing the timeline a little bit. I mean, even your guy. I feel like he's still got his fastball. I feel like he's got his fastball more than Brady does, even though the team was bad this year. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, but you're talking about two of probably the top 5 quarterbacks to ever play the game in those two. Ryan Tannehill's not that.
Oh, no. I'm not saying he is. I am saying, though, that I feel like we are seeing more quarterbacks who are able to play pretty well into the late 30s.
Sure.
So, I mean, Tannehill right now is – what the heck is Tannehill right now?
34, isn't he?
Now, was he 36? Is he 34? Yeah, 34 or 35. I mean, even if it's like, okay, 3-year plan. And I know it's hard to do it in the NFL. It really is like a 1-year plan each year. But still, you got to have this general direction. Yeah, he's 34. And if it's not like, okay, one shot here and then, we'll see. If it's like, okay, who can be like a quarterback for this team and build around it, be great around a quarterback, and you feel like the quarterback could win, well then, I mean, Tannehill, I think Tannehill could. I mean, he takes care of himself and all that stuff. Now, he did have the injury this year.
Yeah.
He hadn't had any injuries, and that's a little bit of a concern because he did have injuries with Miami, knee and shoulder. But that's obviously more of a long-term solution. And then again, you can come back around to it again. If you want to talk about Tannehill Brady, well, gee, it's not even close when it comes to what have you demonstrated when the pressure's high in January, right?
Right.
And we still have the most recent example of that from Tannehill to scare you away from him. So, but if there's actually a movement for Brady, whenever they get a GM, then it has to be like it's 1 year, right? It's 1 year to try to get there, and that's that. And again, and then we talk all this stuff and come back around to I don't think he's going to be interested in the Tennessee Titans.
Well, right now, why would he? I mean, there would need to be a plan communicated of several different steps. Like we got somebody on the text line that says the Titans' offensive line will get Brady killed. Who's he going to throw to? Like those are two great questions that you got to get figured out. Regardless of who the quarterback is next year, the offensive line for sure has to be fixed, and you got to find some better receivers to throw the ball to. Like right now, as presently constructed, I can't think of one reason other than he likes Mike Vrabel. Why Tom Brady would be here, based on the way this roster is currently set up.
Yeah, no, I mean because he'll ask the exact same question. LD from Minville says, "Truth serum time. Does running it back with Tannehill with offensive improvements get you a championship?" I don't know. I mean, Tannehill still has a lot to prove, like we just talked about in those moments. The improvements would have to be severe. Again, we're sitting here. Maybe Brock Purdy is the next Tom Brady, and he's the next like low pick who actually was an incredible find, or maybe like he's fine, and the Niners are so good that they are a championship contender.
Yep.
You know, but that's an example of like Tannehill with the right situation, I think is good enough, but then you still get into that last performance. How do you get that out of your mind?
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Bill from Mount Juliet. Bill, thanks for calling in.
Morning, guys. Hey, Bosa's right, man. The refs are terrible. They've been terrible all year long. They got a bunch of older dudes that can't see as good as they used to, can't run as good as they used to, trying to keep up with the best athletes in the world, and they're making terrible calls, and it's impacting the results of these games. It's bull crap. They need to get some full-time refs. I don't know about you guys, but I'm in my late 40s, and my vision isn't as great. My speed is daggum sure it is great. They need to get some guys out there that know what the hell they're doing and quit blowing these games.
Hey, thanks for the call, Bill. Look, we talked about that a lot yesterday. I agree that there are some calls getting blown. Now, if you watch Joey Bosa go absolutely nuts on the sideline, there is a little bit of personal responsibility. It probably needs to take place, which, to his credit, he did talk about at the beginning of part of his rant. But, yeah, there's no question. I mean, we talked about it yesterday, Joe. They got to get this officiating problem fixed.
Yeah, it is bad. No, I mean, like I totally get the frustration, and some of the misses are just it just makes no sense at all. Like there's the call yesterday went nuts about, which is still like not nearly enough people are going nuts about the push in the back to just give someone a touchdown who wasn't going to get a touchdown, but like the false starts and stuff are just. I mean that's anybody can see that. You know, that has nothing to do with like get in position to see a play. You're all standing there. I mean, come on.
Coming up next, we'll be joined by Caroline Fenton. We'll get her thoughts on the Titans, the GM search, and her thoughts on whether or not Tom Brady should be something the Titans pursue this offseason. That's coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You love the game.
The doors on the board. Touchdown TSU.
We live the game.
Going up against that defense, he can make some plays and take that next step.
We are.
Score by Master Shea.
A gunny performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job?
Not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am Hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
We're Cromwell Media, and if you work here, you're family, and that means a lot. Dagwood has been our morning host on 102.9 The Buzz for 24 years. For Christy Maffett on our sales team, that means 23 years of service. Haley St. John, also an on-air talent on 102.9 The Buzz, is celebrating 10 years. Shannon Sanders, the architect behind 102.1 The Ville, joined our team 5 years ago. Charlotte Simmons, who works on our corporate team, has been with us for 3 years. Want to be part of our amazing Cromwell family? Contact us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
Now, your Game Center update.
The Dallas Cowboys are the final team to move on to the divisional round with a 31-14 win over the Bucs last night. They will face the 49ers in the divisional round this weekend. The Nashville Predators snapped their 3-game losing streak last night with a win over Calgary and Nashville. John Hines spoke after the game and said these young forwards have been a great addition to the team.
I think that they're thriving in the roles. You know, they're earning the opportunities they get. You know, we've stayed pretty consistent with them of giving them the opportunities to be able to play. And sometimes they might have an off night, but the thing that's been really encouraging with the two of them is that usually if there's an off night or you see something in their game that needs to be a little bit better, I think their self-assessment is really good. They accept coaching well, and it doesn't linger, and that's encouraging to see with both of them.
Tonight, the Predators are back at it again. They will have their makeup game with the Columbus Blue Jackets after the water main break earlier this year in Bridgestone. The Tennessee Titans Director of Player Development, Monty Austinfort, has been hired as the new GM for the Arizona Cardinals. This report is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. I'm Michelle Knezovic for 102.5-106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit theGameNashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gun performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic, David James here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. And as we do every Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Caroline Fenton from Caroline, Willie, and D-Mays. Caroline, good morning. How are we doing?
Good morning, everybody. I'm doing great. How are y'all doing?
We're doing really well. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. So we've talked about the departure of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from the playoffs last night, and now Brady Watch officially is on board. Ian Rappaport coming out on the NFL Network a couple of days ago saying the Titans could have interest in Tom Brady should he reach free agency. What do you make of what's next for Tom Brady and whether or not the Titans should be interested in pursuing the quarterback who will be 46 years old coming up in August?
Right. When he, saying definitively, yes, I'm coming back, or no, I plan on not coming back, but I don't buy any of it. He's coming back. I don't think that Tom Brady, who has the most decorated and storied career in the history of the National Football League, would finish his career one season after he retired and then unretired and then went 8-9, won an absolutely horrible division with a horrible team, and gets embarrassed for only, the third or fourth time in the playoffs in the wild card round in the history of his 25-ish year career. I just don't buy it that he's even considering stepping away. He ended his marriage because he wouldn't step away from football, and then he would step away just a year later. It doesn't seem to me that Tom Brady is going to end his career on this note. Now, the second part, should the Titans pursue him? I don't think that if Tom Brady is available and you could be in the market for a quarterback, Titans don't need to be in the market for a quarterback, but they could be if they want. I don't think that you just don't pursue that. I think that you at least have to explore those options. And every time I bring that up, I hear people say, oh, well, would Tom Brady come here with the offensive line and receiver core? Fair question. Well, they're going to have to address the offensive line and receiver core no matter what. Whether I'm the quarterback, whether Brady's the quarterback, whether Joe is the quarterback, whether Ryan Tannehill is the quarterback. Those are positions of need for this team anyways. And second, I think that Brady would be interested no matter, it came out from me and Rappaport that that was the teams on his list no matter what. So that's Tom Brady listing that interest, not just us cooking up something, just to have some fun conversations. So I do think that they're going to have to address the offensive line no matter what. I think the Titans should pursue Tom Brady, but I think also the Titans have a lot of other questions that they do need to address before they start to pursue Tom Brady. Like, who's your GM? Like, who's your offensive coordinator? What direction does this team want to go in? I don't think that they want to go through a rebuild, but let's say they do want to go through a rebuild. And I don't necessarily know that going after Tom Brady is the best option to do that, because I view any team that wants to go after Tom Brady, sure, it's probably only going to be for about a year, but that's going after Tom Brady to me is we're trying to get to the Super Bowl this year, because I can only imagine that Tom Brady's goal, if he comes back at 46 years old, is to get to a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl one last time. So I think that the Titans have some big-time decisions that they need to make about the direction of this franchise before they pursue Tom Brady, but I think that the Titans absolutely should be suitors. Why not? It's Tom freaking Brady.
Yeah, I hear you, and I think that's good analysis. I would say this though, Caroline. So if they you're saying if they go after him, it's because they are a team that's like they are going for the Super Bowl. But isn't that also true if they just decide to run it back with Tannehill and Henry? You know what I mean? I mean that's still a pretty short term, probably. I think with Henry for sure. It isn't necessarily as short term with Tannehill. Because he's 34, but I still feel like if they are like, okay, Tannehill, Henry, defense is good, fix this and this, and let's go. Isn't that the same idea? Like they're doing that for a short window of trying to go for it, right? I mean, they're not doing that just let's see if we can be 9-8 and be okay, guys, right?
Yeah, and I think that whether you go with Tannehill or Brady, to your point, Joe, it's going to be about a year, maybe more. But I view either Tannehill or Brady. That's your 2023 quarterback, and then in 2024, let's reevaluate. But I don't view running it back with Tannehill and Henry as going for it. I more so view that as, let's go with the guys who are still working. I look back at this season, Tannehill and Henry weren't your problems. Did they have their fair share of, blunders in individual games? Yeah. I mean, Derrick Henry fumbled the ball twice against the Jacksonville Jags. But overall, Derrick Henry was still the second leading rusher in the NFL. Overall, Derrick Henry still had 1,500 yards. No, you didn't win the division, and yes, you missed the playoffs. But Ryan Tannehill wasn't the problem for that. Maybe Ryan Tannehill being hurt and not having him out on the field hurt you a little bit, absolutely. But I don't think that those are necessarily problems that need to be addressed right now. So if you do run it back with Henry and Tannehill, I more so view that as let's conserve our resources, more so big draft picks, run it back with Tannehill and Henry, use our draft picks to build around those two, draft linemen, draft pass catchers, address positions and holes of need right now, maybe even throw a tight end in there. And then you get those pieces in place and address quarterback and running back and system of the future after that. So I don't necessarily view Tannehill and Henry as Super Bowl pieces as much as I see it as let's keep these stable pieces where they are and address the pieces that aren't as stable and then address quarterback in 2024.
Caroline Fenton with us here on Robby and Rexrode. Caroline, what do you think the reaction from Titans fans will be if Ryan Cowden is ultimately named general manager?
That's a good question, and I don't really know because I don't really know how much fans know about him or know about the general managers and that are all being, or the not general managers, but the candidates for the general manager position that are being interviewed. We don't really know a lot about these guys. You can say, he was director of player personnel in San Francisco from this day to this day. I'm like, okay, well, what exactly does that mean? What kind of a role did he play in drafting Trey Lance? Or what kind of a role did, Ian Cunningham play in the draft class for Chicago this year? Like, those are all kind of questions that I have about exactly what their role is. So I don't know how Titans fans would react, but I do know that it would be a little bit of a confusing message when Amy Adams Strunk says, like, the status quo isn't working, the direction that we're going in isn't working, and then you promote from within. Maybe Ryan Cowden is going in a completely different direction, that he has a different mindset for this team. Even though he does come from in-house, he has a different mindset and a different approach that he's going to bring to this team. And great. I just think it's a little bit of a confusing message when you say we cannot keep going with the status quo and then get one of your guys from inside. That doesn't make sense to me. And I think that's kind of the message that it would be to Titans fans and how Titans fans would interpret that. But I do think that is ultimately what's going to happen. I do think that Ryan Cowden is going to be the guy. I think that Amy Adams Strunk made that decision to fire John Robinson in the middle of the season because she knew who she was going to next. It seems like a really rash decision to make in the middle of the season if you have no idea where you're going to go next. So I do think that Ryan Cowden ultimately is going to be the guy, but good for the Titans for going out of house and interviewing, 7 candidates out of house, and a lot of those being minorities. I have to at least give the Titans credit for that.
What about OC? Do you expect that to also ultimately be internal, Caroline?
I do. I do expect that to ultimately be internal. I think it'll be Tim Kelly, and I think that's going to be the same kind of thing is you kind of almost clean house. You fire your GM and your offensive coordinator in the offseason. You have this opportunity, and your offense only has gotten worse over the last few years. You have an opportunity to go out and find a young, fresh mind that can bring in new ideas to this team. And then you stay with Tim Kelly, you kind of stick with Mike Vrabel's buddy. Maybe that's the right decision. It just doesn't feel like the right decision to me. I said from the beginning, I think it's going to be Tim Kelly, but I think it would behoove the Titans to at least think outside the box a little bit and to at least make it a little bit more of an uncomfortable search and find a young, fresh mind that can bring new ideas into this football team. Because continuing the status quo hasn't been working for this team, or at least didn't work for this team this past year. I don't want to act like it's like the Titans have been on some, long streak of losing, because that's absolutely not the case. But if they say the status quo isn't working, then why continue to go back to your guys? Why continue to make the same decisions?
Caroline Fenton, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode, joins us every Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock. Caroline, great stuff as always. We'll be listening at 11 o'clock today. Thanks for joining us.
Great. Appreciate y'all. Have a good one.
You as well. Caroline Fenton, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your thoughts, 615-737-1025. We'll get into the Titans general manager search coming up next. And as always, your thoughts, 615-737-1025. Let me tell you about my friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. The final matchup of NFL Wild Card Weekend has taken place, so you've got the divisional round coming up, and what a divisional round it's going to be. You can bet the NFL playoffs with FanDuel, where every play is a rush. This weekend, FanDuel is giving all customers a no-sweat same-game parlay during the divisional round. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account. You'll get free bets back if your NFL playoff same-game parlay doesn't hit. NFL same-game parlays let you combine all your favorite bets for a chance at a bigger payday. You've got the Cowboys and the 49ers. A really interesting game there. I'm going to go with the 49ers at home. and I will go with Brock Purdy over on touchdown passes. But you can take it any way you want to take it. You can even ride with thousands of other fans and bet popular same-game parlays already made for you. If you're new to FanDuel, just join now with promo code ROB to see for yourself why it's America's #1 sportsbook. And if you already have FanDuel, you can start building your no-sweat same-game parlay today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. A max refund of $100. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game. Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year. It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a ½ carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. This year especially, we know price matters, and we're committed to delivering the best value every day. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2023 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and in the past, hair loss was inevitable, but now you have a choice for thicker, fuller hair. Trust the experts with 45 years of experience at Hair Club. They've helped more than 500,000 clients love their hair again. No matter your age, stage of hair loss, or budget, Hair Club can customize a solution for you. And for a limited time, you can get 10% off when you book a free consultation today at hairclub.com/chase. That's hairclub.com/chase.
The new year is here. Time for a change. Start a recession-resistant new career in the high-demand IT field with My Computer Career in just months. Already in IT? Build your cybersecurity skills and prep for thousands of open positions employers nationwide are desperate to fill. Attend classes live online or on campus, and financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill. Make this your year. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
I have the radio on. I'm listening to
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Preds fans, hang out before the Preds games at the Superbook Lounge and Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville on Broadway. We'll 102.5, 106.3 The Game. You can place your bets with Superbook and enjoy great food and drink specials. Plus, enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Thanks to Caroline Fenton for joining us in the last segment. LD from McMinnville on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says, if the Titans run it back with Tannehill, I would assume the OC will be Kelly. Mark from Clarksville on the text line said, if the Titans promote from within, the fans should be mad, basically settling and saying we're okay with the same stuff. You have to bring in fresh faces with a new outlook to gain excitement from the fans and the team, but why should fans expect anything different? This from Mark from Clarksville on the text line.
Well, I think that that's going to be the reaction, and I totally get it. I think it's totally understandable if those are decisions. And I say that, first of all, I personally, I don't necessarily agree with Caroline on that it's going to be Cowden and Kelly. I would lean toward Kelly. I've thought Kelly all along, and if that's the case, yeah, look, it'll be just like when Vrabel gave Shane Bowen the actual DC title going in the 21 season, right? People were mad. And I got it because the defense was so bad in 2020, the worst third down defense ever. That it's like, well, what are you doing? Well, turns out Vrabel knew what he was doing, and Shane Bowen's a good defensive coordinator. But at the time, that's a totally understandable reaction. And if it is Tim Kelly, we'll see. I don't know that but I totally understand fans feeling that way. I don't necessarily believe that it will be Cowden. I mean, it could be. I'm more confident in Kelly being the internal run it back higher than I am with Cowden, based on. And again, I'm basing some of that on. We've actually seen Amy Adams Strunk in her interview with Teresa Walker talking about the GM hire, and it just didn't. I mean, it just didn't sound like someone who ultimately was all along just like, oh, yeah, I just want to go to Cowden, just want to keep it internal. You know what I mean? I could be wrong, but I feel like there's a much better chance that we see an outside hire there. What do you think?
I don't necessarily believe that it's going to be Cowden either. Now, I do find it interesting that one person that they have interviewed is now off the board for the Tennessee Titans, and that is, of course, Monty Ossenfort, who was named general manager of the Arizona Cardinals yesterday. So Monty Ossenfort was obviously director of player personnel with the Titans. He got interviewed, I believe it was Friday, by the Cardinals, and then yesterday the Cardinals made it official, and he is now the general manager of the Arizona Cardinals. So a quick move there by Arizona. They fire Cliff Kingsbury, and they fired their general manager immediately after the regular season, and they've already got their next GM named in Monty Ossenfort. Obviously, the Titans had interviewed him as well, and obviously wasn't going to be the general manager of the Titans. He's now the general manager of the Arizona Cardinals. So what does that mean for Ryan Cowden? Are the two things necessarily connected? Not necessarily. I go back to me, and Caroline pointed this out, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like, if you're upset with the direction that you've been going, if you're Amy Adams Strunk, to then go to the number 2 behind John Robinson in charge and make him the general manager. Now, look, that doesn't mean that Ryan Cowden is the same person as John Robinson, and maybe he would make different decisions, and maybe he's got a different plan and a different path. I don't know. Like, I don't know what Ryan Cowden's thinking moving forward is. I don't know what his involvement in the past has been with some of the decisions that they've made. They would have way more information on that than I would. I just don't think that makes a whole lot of sense to approach it that way. So maybe it's just me hoping that this is the case, but I think that they're going to go outside the organization.
Well, look, yeah, I think that it is definitely harder to sell to fans, and it is this, it's this, we want to go in a new direction, so much so that I'm firing someone in the middle of the season. Well, you don't even need to do that. And then you also have the OC firing, and hey, maybe that was just Mike Vrabel on his own saying, yep, Todd not getting it done. But I bet you there was some collaboration on that decision. Thank you. But Cowden is, look, I've been impressed with Cowden the whole time here. He's been close with other jobs. In fact, I got to go find. I wrote something a couple years ago about the Cowden Cowden Robinson dynamic, and I know one thing that John Robinson told me when he was GM was that Cowden definitely is a guy who would challenge him. I mean, maybe if we could get the scorecard, it'd be like Cowden said no, Isaiah Wilson. Cowden said no on Dylan Radins. I mean, seriously, like Monty Ossenfort, maybe he was like, hey, we got to draft Greg Newsome. Do not draft Caleb Farley. And Robinson just went, sorry, guys.
Do not trade A.J. Brown.
Yeah, right. I think a large percentage of the folks employed by the Tennessee Titans would have said that right up until the time that he actually did that. That's the hard part, is we don't know, the scorecard. I mean, even scouts. I mean, scouts rise in this league at times because of their, like, hey, he unearthed this guy, and this guy. That's someone with a real eye for this. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're just doing the same things. Look, I think, again, I would not have fired John Robinson right now. That's me. So I think that like their overall direction is good. I think the recent mistakes have been really costly. Number one, easily, is trading AJ Brown. If you can boil that, I think you can easily separate that one out and say that is one person. I'm not saying John Robinson was like screaming against everybody else in the building at him, but I think it boils down to it's pretty clearly one person who got very frustrated with negotiations and the back and forth and the agent and the stuff AJ Brown was doing and overreacted and to me panicked when he should have held firm and realized that you can still figure this all out as other teams did with similar situations. So if you believe that's on him, and I think it's fair to put that one on him, that's the biggest mistake to me of the entire tenure. Some of the draft mistakes, that's where I don't know the scorecard on that, right? I mean, I don't know that Vrabel didn't sign off. I still have a hard time buying that as Vrabel, established himself as a coach, and he's Vrabel is like, that guy has such a strong voice, right? I can't believe that they drafted Farley, Raiders, all these guys without Vrabel's approval.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really difficult to imagine that being the case. Michael from Hermitage on the text line said, if the Titans did only hire from within, wouldn't that signal that Vrabel is really going to be the one running the show? Mark on the text line says, with the power that Vrabel has and demands, why would we think the GM and OC will be any different than exactly what he wants? He wants people that will bow to him and not come in with new schemes, etc. Don't kid yourself. Vrabel is the real GM and OC. It will be the same old Titans. This from Mark on the text line.
Well, I think that this sentiment is going to be popular. I think that's a little bit pessimistic. I mean, I think Vrabel wants to win.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think Vrabel just wants to like have power and have people bow to him. Yes, you bow to me. We may go 8-9, but you are bowing to me. I mean, he wants to win. So will he make the good choices? I think he made a good choice with Shane Bowen against all public sentiment. And I mean, I had no reason to think at that point that would be a good move. It seems to have worked out pretty well. I think Shane Bowen's going to be a head coach in the NFL. He also made the choice of Todd Downing. I don't think that was a very good one.
No.
So it's not like Vrabel's scorecard is perfect either. But, I mean, these decisions, I don't think Vrabel is making decisions for power over what can help the Tennessee Titans win. That's ultimately that's really long-term how you have power in this league and keep your job in this league is by winning football games.
We'll continue to take your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025. What would be your reaction if the Titans stay in-house and hire Ryan Cowden as the general manager? We'll have more on that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes.
Tune in to Robby and Rexrode every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yossi.
Matt Duchesne. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
The playoffs are in full swing, and Electronic Express is bringing you show-stopping deals. Come into any of our convenient locations and save big on 4K TVs from your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, Sony, TCL, Hisense, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Get big game ready in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. Electronic Express, we make it happen.
Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey Nashville, it's Chef Phillip at Bar Lines at the Omni Hotel. Come try our new hot dog burn ends. Nathan's all beef hot dogs smoked over pecan wood, tossed in honey sriracha barbecue, topped with a cool crema and crisp spring onions. One of my favorites.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Happy New Year and Happy New You from Houston Clinic Orthopedics, conveniently located where you live and work, with various locations in and around the Nashville area. Houston's physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and many other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they strictly adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all Houston physicians and specialties, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Hi, this is NFL Alumni Tennessee Chapter President and former All-Pro linebacker Al Smith. On the field, I always wore a helmet and pads to make sure I was protected. Life is no different. That's why I got vaccinated and boosted against COVID-19. Protection keeps you in the game. Talk to your doctor. Get the information you need to make an informed choice. Gear up, Tennessee. Protect yourself, your family, and others against COVID-19 today.
More information at nflagearup.org/Tennessee.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Tara, quote, "My doctor wanted me to do saline rinses for my allergies, but I've never been able to successfully use a neti pot. Navage uses suction power, so it's foolproof. There are nights when I'll have particularly bothersome allergies. I'll bust it out, and the results are immediate. It's such a relief. It's become a lifesaver." Unquote. She's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
On the Tuesday edition of Caroline, Willie, and D. Mays, we'll continue to look at the Titans general manager search. They conducted interviews over the weekend. What are the Titans looking for in their future GM? All of that coming up on tomorrow's edition of Caroline, Willie, and D. Mays.
Hey, Nashville, this is Laura Rutledge from the SEC Network, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Tune in later this morning at 8:45 for your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click and win a pair of tickets to a future Preds home game. Pick to Click brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they're referred to so often. And Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you. We'll have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up at 7:45. Predators general manager David Poile joining the show at 8:30. Right now, talking Titans, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And I'm throwing the question out there. I don't know who the Titans are going to hire as their general manager, but if it's Ryan Cowden and they stay in-house, what will your reaction be as a Titans fan? Let us know, 615-737-1025. Joe, if that's the way they go, how do you think the Titans fan base responds to that? And do you think that is being weighed at all when it comes to Amy Adams Strunk being the one making this decision?
Well, it better not be. Then there's real issues in this organization. All due respect to us, the media, and fans, if you're worried about reaction when you make these moves, you're screwed. I mean, you have to. You're trying to win football games. It is very hard to win football games in the NFL. So that shouldn't be any consideration. And it's like, I mean, even if you take it to like Derrick Henry, I mean, I'd like to see Derrick Henry. I'd like to cover another season of Derrick Henry running the football in this stadium. I think the massive percentage of Titans fans feel the same way. I know some don't. I mean, we hear from Titans fans who are like, it's time to move on. But
for sure,
I think it'd be overwhelmingly in favor of, if you put it to a referendum, Derrick Henry would be here next year. But whoever's making the personnel decisions has to do them for the best interest of, short and long term. But it's just about winning. That's all you have to consider. I feel like will be, depending on what happens, a lot more vitriol on the OC in-house hire than there would be on the Cowden hire. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
I think you're right. I think you're exactly right on that, because this goes back to a question that I've been asking. Like, I don't know how much people really care about the general manager search for the Titans. I really don't. Like, I think a lot of people at the end of the day think that regardless of who the GM is, Vrabel's going to be the one making the decisions. And I don't know if that's correct or not, but that's what people think. Like, I really don't know how much Titans fans actually care about this general manager search. I think they really care about the offensive coordinator search.
I think there's more care. Although I think they should care. So it's like, Mickey Loomis, for example, and of course they're in the post Sean Payton era, didn't go well this year, but there's a GM who has a lot of respect, even though, reportedly, like, Sean Payton had final say. I still feel like that job's really important. First of all, you better have someone in there who can at times try to provide checks and balances, even if your head coach does have that power, right? And also, like, it's still a year-long constant process of scouting and of trying to be ready when people get hurt, of trying to do it like the Titans have done, and been able to find guys and bring them in and get some good football. Credit to Vrabel and his staff, but also credit to Robinson's staff, Robinson's former staff, for finding some of those guys. Like, there's still so much to it that's so important. Even if the head coach ultimately has the final say. So, like, it's not some insignificant thing at all. But yeah, I agree. Like, the closer you get to the actual playing of the football, I think more people care about it. And I do think if Tim Kelly is the hire, there's going to be people upset about it, and I will totally get it. Like, I don't think that they necessarily need to change schemes. I mean, I probably, like, especially if you are going back with Tannehill and Henry, I'd probably want to be in the same scheme.
Yeah.
Personally, but I like the fact that they at least reached out and they looked at and they reached out reportedly on these two Kansas City guys. I like that. I don't think that's just a total. It's a lot of these things when you interview people. First of all, obviously there is the Rooney Rule, and so all these teams have to satisfy the Rooney Rule. But also, sometimes maybe it's for show, even for something. I have my doubts that looking at two Kansas City guys is just purely like show people that we are thinking something different, but all along it's just going to be Tim Kelly. I don't know. You buy that? I mean, that's a Jared kind of,
Well, no, I'm with you there. I just, without trying to read too much into it, it makes me wonder what it means for the roster, because I agree with you. Like, if Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry are coming back, I don't really know why you would change the scheme. I mean, I think those guys have demonstrated that the scheme can work if you've got the right players around them in the scheme. So if you're bringing Tannehill and Henry back, I don't really know why you would change it. If you're not, would that lead to maybe some different scheme changes? Do you have a different quarterback in mind? What's the roster going to look like? I don't know. Like, again, I don't want to read too much into the Titans requested permission to interview Eric Bieniemy and Matt Nagy for their offensive coordinator job, so that must mean that Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry aren't coming back next year. I'm just saying that if you wanted to change up the scheme, does it really make a whole lot of sense to bring those two back? I'm not sure that it does.
Right. And of course, the Kansas City guys are like, oh, shoot, I missed your text.
Yeah.
Oh, man, did you hire someone else yet? I'm sorry. So, I mean, the Titans are getting turned down here a little bit out there on different fronts. What do you think? I wanted to get to something Caroline said about Tannehill and Henry. What do you think about the idea that, because I think if you have Tannehill and Henry back, I think this has to be considered a quote unquote go for it year, right? I don't think it's any less of a quote unquote go for it year than if you had Brady, is it?
Well, I think I agree.
It's gotta be successful,
right? Like, I don't think it would be successful, but I said it before. Like, if you're bringing Tannehill, this goes back to the conversation we had about DeAndre Hopkins, and it doesn't specifically have to be DeAndre Hopkins. But my point was, well, if you're bringing those two back, if you're not totally all in to try to win a Super Bowl, then why are you doing it? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me to bring those two back and then just be like, well, we'll try to get a little bit better around him, and maybe we can go 9-8, 10-7, squeak into the playoffs and see how things go from there. It just doesn't make any sense to operate that way. So I would agree. Like, I think if you're bringing Tannehill and Henry both back, that signals to me that you think you have a chance to win and to compete for a Super Bowl. Now, do you really have a chance to compete for a Super Bowl? I don't know. Depends on a lot of things you do this offseason. Brady, certainly, to me, would signal you're trying to at least go for a Super Bowl, because why in the heck would he be playing for you if you're not? But, yes, I think if they bring Tannehill and Henry back, that tells me that at least they believe they can compete for one.
And by the way, you know, if you do bring Brady back, then or not Brady back. If you do sign Brady, as you mentioned, so then you're hurting. You know, it's still going to hurt you some with Tannehill. It's going to hurt you paying Brady. No, you have less that you can do. I mean, I understand. You know, people can say, no, the cap. Yeah, the cap is certainly movable, but it's still like then you have to do this. And it's more painful, and you are more restricted. There is a salary cap. You are more restricted if you go that route as well. So going for it with Brady, also it's more challenging to be great around your quarterback if you go with Brady.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend Santa from Portland. Santa, good morning. How we doing?
Good morning. I'm doing great, Robbie, Joe. It's good to hear from you guys. I wanted to chime in. It's pretty simple for me because I'm sure I'm in the minority. I think I don't really care where they get the GM or the OC. Because one person can't do it all. I think that someone somewhere evaluated talent and thought that Isaiah Wilson was going to be, a good draft choice, that Dylan Radin was going to be a good draft choice. Didn't see anything coming with Caleb Farley, and I think that comes down to whoever's doing the scouting and they're doing the researching on these young men before they get into the league. And recently, they've failed miserably, and I think that whoever is doing the evaluating, if they're giving all the right information to Vrabel, and if I'm Vrabel, I'm trusting in those people to do the right evaluation before those decisions are made. So that's my standpoint. I think that it comes down to whoever's evaluating the talent and making a decision that, hey, these guys are worth risking a draft choice on. You guys have a good day.
Thanks for the call, Santa. And to that point, Joe, okay, well, how much say-so did Ryan Cowden have in those conversations? And again, the point that you keep bringing up, how much say-so did Mike Vrabel have in those conversations? Those are all things that we don't know, but you have to ask those type questions.
Yeah. Real quick on one point there made that I will argue. Isaiah Wilson was a consensus, first-round talent, I have no idea where he would have gone if the Titans wouldn't have taken him. I feel confident in saying it wouldn't have been too much longer. I mean, his stuff was off the field. No, but I tell you what, and then the Farley thing, that's the risk reward. And I mean, we saw the immediate reaction from teams after that, right? Some teams looked at his medicals and were scared the heck away. And I think those teams are smarter than the Titans. The Ravens one is I think that's a missed football evaluation. I know it's not a first-round pick, it's a second-round pick, but boy, you can do a lot in the second round.
No question about it. Coming up next, it's time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guys.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year. It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. This year especially, we know price matters, and we're committed to delivering the best value every day. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2023 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with Autosave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
After redshirting his first year at Ohio State, Joe Burrow spent the next 2 years as J.T. Barrett's backup. With Dwayne Haskins on the roster, Burrow didn't see much playing time and decided to transfer. LSU head coach Ed Orgeron zeroed in on Burrow and landed him. In his second season at LSU, Burrow led the Tigers to a 15-0 record, a national championship, and arguably the best season ever by a college quarterback.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
Teams that win college bowls have great recruits, and great recruiting starts with great conversations. That's why when you post a job for free, LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 875 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down to only the most qualified candidates, which means you can start hiring the right people faster. Go to linkedin.com/sports to post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
Bonus days are back for pros at Lowe's. You earn points and save when you buy the top pro brands you trust, like DeWalt. Right now, you can save $100 on the powerful DeWalt 8 1/4-inch carbide tipped portable table saw. Was $399, now just $299. Join today and shop bonus days, only at Lowe's. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid through 1/20. Subject to change while supplies last. Visit Lowes.com/MVPs bonus points for details.
He's got big takes.
It's not that freaking hard. Hand the ball to Henry.
Small takes.
You have to defend your decision.
But all takes.
They win, they lose. Just invested a lot into this game. It was the worst press conference.
He is Jared Stillman.
I guess I'm just not a very good coach, Jared.
Weekdays from 2 to 6, Stillman and Company. Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
Every morning, first thing.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment, let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
The driving cat, the cat who can drive a car.
And it is that time of the day, time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45 here on the program. Joe Rexrode with that lovely music in the background. The floor is yours. I turn things over to you.
Very fitting. Thank you, Michelle.
Yes, I picked it strategically.
So this is probably overkill since like Jared and I, yell at each other on Wednesdays and then Jared comes on Thursdays. But I think there is a bigger discussion to be had here. So I think this is a good opportunity to take some of Jared's words and turn them into productive conversation. So I guess without further ado, I was sitting in the Barrel House yesterday and Jared was like, he saw me, I came in, he's excited, like, oh, good, because look at my topic for 5:30. It's ripping you for like admitting you were wrong or whatever. I'm like, oh, great. So I sat there and listened to it, and I was like, I guess maybe I should address this tomorrow. So let's hear what Jared had to say, and let's make a nice discussion out of it.
And I heard Joe Rexrode, who has argued for years about this, who finally said the Titans made a mistake in 2020 by not signing Tom Brady and re-signing Ryan Tannehill. And it was refreshing to hear that. Because for so long, the boo-hoo Tannehill crew of this town led by Joe and Gentry Estes, said, no, it was the right decision to sign Tannehill over Brady. And I remember thinking to myself, you guys are crazy. You guys are crazy. What do you mean? It was a good idea. To me, it was one and done. It was the Titans played the Ravens. They scored 13 points in a playoff game. Ryan Tannehill didn't crack 175 yards. Brady won the Super Bowl. I put my hands in my head and I said, what a mistake I made. What a mistake we all made. And I kept saying, I took the cheese on it. I took the cheese on Tannehill. Now, I think Tannehill had a nice year this year, and I've defended Tannehill, and I like Tannehill fine. But I took the cheese. And I've said many times, I am not making the same mistake twice. I am not going to fall into the same trap that I fell in 3 years ago, where I said, well, it's a different offense for Brady, and I don't know how he'd get along with Derrick Henry, and he's old, and Tannehill's younger, and this could be a long-term thing, and how much does Brady really have left in the tank, and would Brady think about coming here, and all those things that I talked myself into 3 years ago that told me, hey, you know what, I'm not going to go after Tom Brady because of these things. And then I took the cheese on Tannehill. I'm not doing that again. So if there's any inclination that Tom Brady wants to be here, I'm all in. And to hear Joe Rexrode say this morning that the Titans made a mistake, boy, I tell you, that was music to my ears. It was refreshing to know that honesty and the truth exists on our morning program.
So was Jared Stillman yesterday. Joe, your response.
Did he just say the word inclination?
He did.
Is that like inclination and ignition combined?
I guess so.
I missed that. The barrel house was loud. So first of all, yeah, truth and honesty. Now that is funny. You tell me, Robbie. You hold me accountable here. I think I've been pretty consistent. Like this comes up a lot, where it's like the Clowney argument that I've had with Jared, but it's like, yeah, okay, if I could go back in time with the knowledge I have now, then sure, I would change that. If I ran the Titans and I could go back in time, I would not have made the Julio trade. I would not have signed Clowney, and you can go through a lot of things. And this one too, I would have gone with Brady instead of Tannehill. But I maintain with Julio, with Clowney, and with this, those are three that stand out. I think, given the information at the time, they didn't make a mistake. Have I changed on this?
No, my whole thing has been always, yeah, I would have gone with Brady over Tannehill, but how do we know that Brady wanted to come here? Like, that's never been made clear.
Well, there's that too.
That's my point. Like, people keep acting like the Titans chose Ryan Tannehill over Tom Brady. Like, Tom Brady, who knows if he wanted to come here? Like, he went to Tampa Bay because the situation in Tampa Bay was really good. And, we can get back into the quarterback that he was referring to on the shop the one time. And was it Derek Carr? Was it Jimmy Garoppolo? I guess was it Ryan Tannehill?
Jared was sure it was Tannehill.
Yeah, but everybody keeps acting like the Titans are like, oh, well, they've got like Brady on this side making his case to join the Titans and Tannehill on this side, and we have no idea whether or not that was the case. I don't think it was. Like, I think Brady wanted to go to Tampa Bay, and he did. Now, if the Titans did have a chance to get Tom Brady, a legitimate chance, not just we'll see, a legitimate chance to get Tom Brady, and they chose Ryan Tannehill over that, then yeah, it's a mistake. But everybody keeps acting like it was like, well, they could have had Tom Brady. Maybe. They may not have been able to have Tom Brady.
Well, and that's another interesting thing about this is apparently, and this was something Jared said on his show yesterday, I miss it, Jared. Whenever anybody in the world says anything about the Titans, Jared will have the sound of it as a show. And Rappaport threw in that the Titans, had interest last time around, which I actually argued a little bit with Jerry. I'm like, well, I mean, I think everybody has interest, right? What does have interest mean? I don't know exactly, but yeah, exactly. Like the idea that it was just like, it was theirs for the picking and we'll go this way. without really knowing how Brady felt about it. I think you're probably right. I mean, and Brady made a good choice, by the way. They're bad now, but boy, was that an incredible team that he won a Super Bowl with that first season in Tampa Bay. So, and this also now applies to now. And again, look, if Brady was like, "Come on, man, I want to bring a Super Bowl to Nashville. Let's do it. Come on, you can do this. Let's go." I mean, I think you'd have to do it, right? You'd have to do it. But I'll go back to, and I was definitely wrong because I thought, man, we're really seeing this guy decline. They were not good in 2019 in New England. It was an awful offense, So I was wrong about that. But I still, like, I'm watching last night. I'm like, at some point, like, someone's gonna have Tom Brady on their team and be like, oh shoot, that's right, he just got AARP stuff in the mail and he shouldn't be our quarterback anymore. Maybe he'll retire before it gets to that. But I feel like a lot of these cases of players that keep hanging on, at some point it just comes to an end where it's like, yeah, you just played too long, man. But yeah, I would do it. And now another question I do have on this is of course a GM hire. Like, we don't know who all is making the decisions, but are we sure that it's not Stretch who's making the decision?
Maybe worth bringing up this week.
I mean, like, is Jared still talking about that? Or I don't know. I don't listen to the show all the time. Does he have like an hour of like, what will Stretch do as GM? I mean, I don't know. I don't.
Well, remember,
he
said
get to hear.
He said on our show last week that he feels like that he blocked it for the Titans. He talked it out, and the Titans realized it was a bad idea, and that was it.
That's right. Well, and honestly, see, the thing is, we're sitting here trying to figure out what are the Titans going to do? Who's going to be this high? Who's going to be that there? What we should do is just listen to Jared as he sort of manipulates the whole situation, because they listen to his show and then react accordingly, right?
Yeah, he filters out the candidates.
I like it.
I mean, I think it is. I think from their perspective, listening to Jared and acting accordingly is a good inclination.
You nailed it. Very nicely done. 615-737-1025. This has been the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45. We'll continue the discussion on the Titans. We'll take your thoughts on Tom Brady. Should the Titans pursue him as their quarterback? And also, which Titans should land new deals this offseason? We'll get into all that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You watch The Game.
Haskins again doesn't get it. Jaguars have won the AFC South.
We talk the game.
The offensive side of the football for the Titans. Who should be back next season?
We are The Game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Time for the Birds Report.
Presented by Newton Nissan.
The Nashville Predators played a tight one with the Calgary Flames last night at Bridgestone Arena. They led 1-0 after 8:26 of the first period. Roman Josi with his 12th. And then, before the period came to its conclusion, Nashville got what would prove to be the game winner. So now the Predators have one, coming back just after the expiration of the penalty. Juuso Parssinen with his 5th, which helped him extend his record, still going, for most points consecutively, and a rookie in a Predators uniform. Predators would hold on to win the game 2-1, a later goal by Nikita Zadorov for Calgary. Up next, Predators tonight, they will go against the Columbus Blue Jackets. 7 o'clock game time, 6 o'clock pregame.
All the best car deals in Smashville start at Newton Nissan. Visit them at Newton Nissan of Gallatin or Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville.
This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
The college basketball season is heating up, which means it's time for the Wendy's Wooden Watch. You see, in 2002, I was honored to have received the John R. Wooden Player of the Year Award, which is presented to the country's most outstanding men's and women's player, who is also making progress towards earning a degree. This year, players like Drew Timme, Armando Bacot, Aaliyah Boston, and Caitlin Clark are vying for the trophy. So who will take it home? The 2023 John R. Wooden Men's and Women's Player of the Year is presented by Wendy's.
Wendy's knows cold and soggy fries are the worst.
So soggy.
That's why we're serving up hot and crispy fries all day, every day.
And all night until close.
With natural cut potatoes, sea salted to perfection.
Show me that potato skin.
Wendy's hot and crispy aren't like other fries. We're your dream fry. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's hot and crispy fries.
Guaranteed to be hot and crispy. If yours aren't, bring them back and we'll replace them.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Your Game Center update.
The Dallas Cowboys are the final team to move on to the divisional round with a 31-14 win over the Bucs last night. They will face the 49ers in the divisional round this weekend. The Nashville Predators snapped their 3-game losing streak last night with a win over Calgary and Nashville. John Hines spoke after the game and said these young forwards have been a great addition to the team.
I think that they're thriving in the roles. They're earning the opportunities they get. We've stayed pretty consistent with them of giving them the opportunities to be able to play. And sometimes they might have an off night, but the thing that's been really encouraging with the two of them is that usually if there's an off night or you see something in their game that needs to be a little bit better, I think their self-assessment is really good. They accept coaching well, and it doesn't linger, and that's encouraging to see with both of them.
Tonight, the Predators are back at it again. They will have their makeup game with the Columbus Blue Jackets after the water main break earlier this year in Bridgestone. The Tennessee Titans director of player development, Monty Austinfort, has been hired as the new GM for the Arizona Cardinals. This report is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. I'm Michelle Knezovic for 102.5-106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 1025 and 10.
Media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive, this is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 and 1063 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning. We'll be joined by Predators General Manager David Poile coming up at 8:30. Preds back in action tonight. Big win last night against Calgary. They'll take on Columbus tonight at Bridgestone Arena. So looking forward to that conversation with David Poile later this hour at 8:30. Right now, talking Titans, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Andrew from Dover on the text line says, if talking about years to go for it, I'd rather sign Tannehill again or get Rodgers over Brady, because if you take Brady, you get 1 year at the most. This from Andrew from Dover on the text line. Now, I've heard people bring this up. Joe, I think you brought it up earlier in the show. Like, I'm not giving Ryan Tannehill a contract extension. That's not even entering my mind if I'm the Tennessee Titans. People may disagree with that. That's fine. That is not even something I'm thinking about if I'm the Tennessee Titans.
So let's go back to like what Caroline was saying earlier, the difference between a Brady's a go for it and a Tannehill Henry is I guess like place holding. Which again, like, I don't look at it that way. I look at it like in either case, it's a go for it. Can you successfully go for it? I think in either case, there's a whole bunch of proven to be done. Dennis just said in the text line, people keep talking about Brady coming behind this bad offensive line, but it's going to be a new offensive line. I said that's true, but when you have that many positions to address, there just isn't a lot to point to right now with what's coming back to feel good about, right? So yeah. That's just a tall task to fix that in one offseason. It's possible. They have done it one time in 2016 but that doesn't mean you can do it every time you need to rebuild an offensive line. They got a great first-round pick who was an all-pro. They signed Ben Jones, great signing. And then Taylor Lewan turned from an underwhelming player into a great left tackle that year. But people didn't know that was going to happen. I mean, so that was kind of lightning in a bottle. But like, I mean, to me, I'm with you. Like, it's a go for it year. If you look at Tannehill and Henry as, just bring them back and let's have a year of football and whatever, see if we can be okay. Then I say, screw it, man. Trade up and go get a quarterback now, like either scenario, any veteran, and you can talk, if you want to talk about Carr and Garoppolo or whatever, I don't think there's any validity to that, but any decision like that at quarterback. So Tannehill coming back, Brady, any of the other veterans, to me, that's go for it. We can fix receiver and offensive line and be healthy and get good luck, and we can be right back in the mix in the AFC. And right now in January, have a shot to be winning games. If you don't think that, then do not do that. Then you need to figure out your quarterback of the future.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me to go that route if you're not trying to win. So I also just – the Brady part of this, and LD from McMinnville on the text line asking, like, what's the difference between Tannehill and Brady at this point, given their age? I mean, I'm not saying it's not a fair question, right? Because he will be 46 coming up in August. And, Joe, to your point, even Tom Brady at some point is not going to have the fastball, and he's not going to be as good, and it's going to be time to hang it up. And maybe he's there right now. I don't know. I do know that we had similar conversations in 2019, and all of a sudden he turned around and was absolutely phenomenal 2 years in a row in Tampa Bay, and not as good this year. Now, can he do that again? It is 3 years later. That makes a big difference. I'm not saying that he absolutely will do it again. I'm saying I'm not anywhere near close enough to counting it out of the realm of possibility that he can figure things out and with a better situation looks pretty darn good and looks more like Tom Brady next year. If you go that route, it's a gamble you have to be willing to take. Are the Titans willing to take it? I don't know. It could blow up right in their face. Like, whoever signs Tom Brady, whether it's the Titans, whether he goes back to Tampa Bay, whether he ends up with the Raiders, like, you could get through October of next year and think to yourself, oh boy, we made a big mistake because he just doesn't have it anymore. That absolutely could happen. That's a calculated risk you've got to take. I've just seen that guy figure it out too many times for me to just totally dismiss the fact that he couldn't do it again.
Yeah, look, if he actually wanted to come to the Titans, and he was, and that does, by the way, it's tough because in this particular year, the free agency crop of receivers is bad, but like that's also like with Brady, you're like, okay, and he's going to bring somebody. I mean, hopefully someone
bring Julio
with fewer issues than Antonio Brown. Yeah, there you go. Bring Julio. Julio had a nice TD catch last night, by the way. But like of course he's got that Pied Piper thing too. So if he wanted in, and if he's like, this is where I want to try to go for it again, I think you'd have to take the gamble. I just think that you may be doing exactly as you said, looking at like, hey, I gave it a shot, but man, he's just not that guy anymore.
Sell a lot of jerseys.
I think he would sell a lot of jerseys. So I mean, hey, they would pack that place to watch Tom Brady, I believe, right? I mean, now if they're 2-7, maybe they stop packing the place, but it would be certainly a huge buzz, and there would be more attention for the Tennessee Titans than they've ever had in their time in Nashville. It would be worth the gamble. Again, we keep going around with this argument to the point of I don't think that he will look at this as the place, but certainly he and Mike Vrabel have been close friends for a long, long time, so they can talk through things. And I guess, he can have confidence that Vrabel is the guy who's going to have a lot of say in what they do with personnel, as that's one way this situation is different now than it was 3 years ago, right?
Yeah. Terry from Clarksville on the text line says, I think your quarterback of the future you'll get next year when the draft looks a lot better. And I hear that. But
what if you're good?
Yeah, you also got to be bad, right? Like, I mean, you can find quarterbacks later in the first round, or heck, you can find quarterbacks in the third round. Brock Purdy may win the Super Bowl this year, and he's the last pick in the draft. So I'm not saying you can't find quarterbacks, but if you're going to get one of the guys that makes the quarterback draft class quote unquote better next year, you're going to have to be at the top of the draft to do it. And if you're bringing Tannehill and Henry back, you're not going to be at the top of the draft. You're just not.
Right. I mean, there are a lot of intriguing prospects, but I think Caleb Williams and Drake May are the two right now going into next college football season. I think the very likely top two picks in the draft. So how are you going to get there? Right now you're sitting at 11. Stroud just announced. Michelle, you got me all excited that Stroud was staying at Ohio State yesterday. But no,
I know, me too.
There was some weird buzz about that yesterday. But Stroud's in, and Young's in, and Levis is in, and you got other guys that Hendon Hooker and others who would be lower. I mean, at 11, you can actually you are close enough to where it's still going to cost you to move up into the territory to take one of those guys. But maybe if you believe one of those guys is attainable and is your guy, do it.
Jonathan on the text line says, how do we feel about getting Rodgers? We're going to get that question a lot. I get it. It's borderline impossible when you look at the numbers. Number one, they're not going to trade him. It's not going to happen. He's either going to be playing for the Packers next year or he's not going to be playing. I mean, they haven't come out and outright said this, but the general manager came on the record the other day and said, yeah, Aaron Rodgers gives us a better chance to win than Jordan Love does, which I think is duh, but it doesn't sound like they have any plans of, we're turning the keys over to Jordan Love by their own voluntary plans next year. Now, if Rodgers demands a trade, then maybe, but he's not going to do that. Aaron Rodgers is not going to the Titans.
Yeah. And that, to me, if that were feasible, that in my opinion is different than Brady, because I still think Aaron Rodgers, and he's several years younger, but I just think he's much closer to his prime as a player than Brady is.
I mean, it's only $99 million in dead money for the Packers next year. They cut him.
What's the dead money on trading him?
I don't know.
It's still
astronomical.
It's still big. Yeah.
Be a whole lot. Let's go back to the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Got a texter that says, if the text line will pull up. Caleb on the text line says, what could we get for Derrick Henry right now? I don't think very much. What'd you say, a fourth
round pick?
Okay, fifth round.
I think a fourth rounder would be a good outcome. I would guess a fifth rounder, but maybe you could get a fourth rounder.
We'll get to more of your thoughts. Go ahead.
I was going to say now, Derrick Henry picks another veteran, whatever. Could he be part of something to move up to get a quarterback in this draft? Yeah, I think potentially.
Could be. We'll get to more of your thoughts on the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. A lot more to get to. Take your thoughts on our phone line as well, 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3, The Game.
Your home for MTSU basketball is 94.9 The Fan.
Three ball, yes sir!
All the big shots and moments live here. MTSU basketball is on a station built for you. 94.9 The Fan.
Nate Bargatze from Old Hickory to Broadway.
Chuck E. Cheese is rough. I don't know if you've been there in a while. They look like they're trying to go to business and they can't.
All new material.
They filed for bankruptcy and they're still open. They called Blockbuster and they're like, how do you get out? We want out.
Nate Bargatze, Bridgestone Arena, Saturday, April 15th. Tickets available at natebargatze.com. Don't miss Nate Bargatze from Old Hickory to Broadway. Produced by Outback Presents.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year. It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. This year especially, we know price matters, and we're committed to delivering the best value every day. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2023 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Attention furniture buyers. Shop Social Furniture's huge blowout sale now. Thousands of items are marked down in all departments. Many prices are slashed up to 70% off. Now is the time to buy your new furniture at Social Furniture's huge blowout sale. Our professional staff will assist you with your purchase. We have same-day delivery and setup by experienced furniture installers. Don't wait. Buy today with up to 60-month special financing and no money down. Shop Social Furniture's huge blowout sale. Now through Monday on Charlotte Avenue in Nashville. Save, 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 save.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studio, sponsored by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. We'll have Predators General Manager David Poyle coming up here in just a few minutes at 8:30. Right now, talking Titans, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Coy in Clarksville says trade Derrick Henry and a third-round pick to L.A. for Jalen Ramsey. We've begun that time of the year with off-season speculation. Gotta love it.
Ooh.
David on the text line says, what were the differences in stats between Brady and Tannehill this year? Excuse me, this is David from Nolansville. Well, look, Brady's stats, he threw for 2,200 more yards. He threw for 12 more touchdowns. He also played the whole year. And I'm looking at some quick math here. Brady threw the ball 733 times this year, which, by the way, is just an astronomical number. 733 times, and I would be surprised if Ryan Tannehill even approached 400. Let's see what he ended up with. He ended up with 325 attempts.
Look at you, Rob. Nice guess.
You're talking about 400 more attempts that Tom Brady had this year, and his yards per play was not very good.
Yeah, right. Someone tweeted at us earlier, like, he had the greatest season that better than any Titan ever. I'm like, you're looking at accumulation of passing yardage. All he did was he threw 66 times as that. Now, it's not his fault. Their offensive line was bad. They had injuries, and they had no running game. But also, they were bad, and he was behind. And, yes, there were many empty calories for Tom Brady throwing the ball this year. Right? Again, I'm not saying he was like battle year or whatever. I mean, he had some tremendous performances, some tremendous comebacks. So don't get me wrong, but it's hard to compare because, again, there are a lot of games they were behind, and he's getting quick access throws down the field. The teams are trying to make him just take time to move it down the field. So I mean, you have to keep that in mind. The 6.4 yards per attempt is a bad number.
I got a texter that says, "Give me Brady, Hopkins, a guard in free agency, Peter Skoronski, and Downs or Hyatt if we're generally going all in." This from Jake in Greenbrier on the text line. Hey, there's a path.
Super Bowl. Win it. That team is winning it all. Hey, real quick, just on another topic, I want to, because I was wrong earlier, and someone pointed out on the text line. I said Isaiah Wilson was a consensus first round pick. That's not true. He was considered a fringe. I mean, they were like I just went back and actually looked at some things. Like I think it was Matt Miller said like immediate starter, Pro Bowl potential. There were people who were high on him, but like Dane Brugler had him going in the second round to the Rams. So 57th overall. So it was a bit of a reach football wise where the Titans took him. But like for example, I'm going to read Brugler here. He said, quote, some teams think he'll be a first round pick, others think he'll fall outside the top 50. And he had him at 57. So like he was still obviously a first or second round pick, but I was wrong when I said consensus first round pick. So I apologize.
Got to be better. Got to be better, Rexrode.
I know. I want to be truth and honesty, just like Jared said.
That's right. Truth and honesty. So, look, we're going to have, obviously, with the Bucs being eliminated last night, it's going to be an offseason worth of discussion about what's Brady's next move going to be. Is the Titans something that are the Titans really something that he's considering? And if not, what do the Titans do? I still think the most likely scenario is Tannehill and Henry are coming back next year, and that's going to be your quarterback running back duo. But if you had a legitimate chance to get Brady, would you consider it? I think I would describe the text line today as kind of mixed on that. So I'm interested to see how that develops as we continue to move along here. Joe, real quickly, as we get into the next few minutes here before David Poyle coming up at 8:30. As you look at the Titans, and we'll just keep it to the offensive side of the ball, who do you think should get new deals? Who should be back for the Titans? As we talk about what's the path going to look like in the offensive line, and whether it's Brady, Tannehill, or who else at quarterback, the receiving core, who do you think should be back for the Titans next year? And I want to start at tight end with Austin Hooper, because the first part of the season, not much from Hooper. I think he did grow in his role as the season went along there. Do you think Hooper should be someone the Titans entertain bringing back, and how much do you think that could be? I guess how financially committed do you think you have to be to Austin Hooper after the year you had here?
Well, why aren't you taking credit for Austin Hooper's turnaround? You gave up on him, and immediately he listened to you, and he got angry, and he started performing.
I'm just saying if there are negotiations that need to be had, I feel like that needs to be brought up with me.
I think so. Yeah. I think you deserve a little kickback. It's like a finder's fee.
Did that. Turned Princeton fan at Tennessee into Mr. Touchdown. It was good stuff.
Yes, that's right. Well, you really piss off these tight ends. Yeah, I would bring him back. I would be interested in Hooper. I really like how things turned out down the stretch with him. I think I would not bring Robert Woods back. I think I'm moving on there and saving some money. So that means cutting him. Hooper was a 1-year deal. Woods, I believe, was a 2-year deal, not a 3, right? It was a 2, I think.
I think Hooper was a 1-year deal. Or Woods was a 2-year deal. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Woods 2-year deal. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about – Robert Woods has a cap number of 14.6. That's
yeah, you can't do
it. And your dead money is 2.5. I think you have to move on. Obviously, there's some obvious ones, like the big ones are like they're cutting Lewan. I'm still absolutely in favor of going back to him and just kicking the tires on one more run. If you're bringing Tannehill and Henry back, and look, ultimately, you forced me to choose. I'm not like 100% sold on it. Like it's absolutely the way to go, but I'd lean that way. I think the big question for me on the offense is Nate Davis.
Yeah.
Like you can't expect to just have all new people at all these different spots on the O-line and just think you're going to hit on all of them, right? I think Nate Davis is a good player, and I think at his best, he's a very good right guard. The injury stuff is concerning, and that's ultimately what I think has to be the guide. But right now, based on the information I have, I think I would gamble and try to re-sign him because, like, I think you need as much continuity as you can have. And if you do happen, and I'm definitely, if Ben Jones wants to keep playing, then yes. Now, does he? Should he? I don't know. Right now, his cap number for 23 is 8. This is overthecap.com, by the way. Make sure to give the credit there. His cap number is 8-3. I mean, if he can play it, and you go Ben Jones, you re-sign Nate Davis, and Petit Frere's just got to work his butt off this offseason and be a better player. Then, okay, now you have the other side to figure out. And you may be okay at center with Aaron Brewer if that's the way you go, but I don't think you want him at left guard. You need to be upgraded there. And obviously, left tackle, you're going to have to address left tackle even if Lawan does want to come back.
I agree. And, to that point, if you're addressing left tackle, and I've thought about this because I'm with you, I would consider, if Taylor Lewan is open to it, I would consider maybe bringing him back on a much cheaper deal for 1 year. But if you're drafting a tackle with your first-round pick, isn't he going to play for you? Does Taylor Lewan, if you bring him back, maybe make you not draft a tackle with your first pick? I have no idea what the Titans are going to do with the number 11 overall pick, but you would think that there would be a good NFL-ready tackle there for him at number 11 overall. Does that influence the way you think about Taylor Lewan? Could they just say, you know what, we're just going to go draft our left tackle of the future, and he's going to start from day one?
Well, maybe, but you could also now with that pick, you could take Quentin Johnston.
Yep.
And then you could get you're not going to get one of those top shelf tackles, but you get another one who maybe needs a little bit more time, but could at least be your swing tackle in the meantime.
Yeah, it's a really interesting proposition there to see how the Titans could go about that. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We'll have Pred's Pick to Click coming up at 8:45. Pred's back in action tonight, taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. And speaking of that, coming up next, we'll be joined by Predators general manager David Poile. We'll get his thoughts on the win last night, the emergence of two young guys in the lineup, and Cody Glass and Juuso Parssinen that are playing really, really well, and more. That's coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi, and this is Smashville.
Going to the front of the net, he scores. What a gorgeous move. Roman Yossi.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Al Gill here from my friends at Dunkin'. Warm up and feel the love with Dunkin'. Treat yourself and a loved one to a brown butter toffee hot or iced latte, which is superb paired with the bacon avocado tomato sandwich. Be sure to try the all-new stuffed biscuit bites. It's a warm biscuit dough wrapped around a mixture of bacon, scrambled egg, and cheddar cheese. Visit us at our newly remodeled Dunkin' on Briley Parkway in Nashville, or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet, and our other locations throughout Middle Tennessee. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Terms apply.
Hey, it's Jared. Are you looking to move? If so, do yourself a favor and reach out to my friends at TriStar Moving. You can be assured your move will be stress-free because they've got new utility vans to help with pack jobs to separate your high-value or fragile items from the bulk of your furniture, and their movers are carefully picked and highly trained. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry. When you're ready to move, give them a call. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, or online at nationalmoving.org/radio, and tell them Jared Stillman referred you for 10% off. That's TriStar Moving.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
Get in on the conversation at 615-737-1025. The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
Blue 22!
Those are sports sounds. And people love sports so much, it makes them pay attention when I say, drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds.
It's way back! It's out of here!
And we all know how sports fans feel about big saves.
What a save!
See what I did there? Save is also a sports word. So save big when you switch to Progressive. Ooh, that's a golf clap.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
Can't get enough Vanderbilt basketball?
Intercepted right all by himself for a one-hand flush.
Your home for the Commodores is 93.3 Classic Hits.
Put it up. It's good. Count it.
Join Coach Jerry Stackhouse and his team on their journey through the SEC.
Pulls a trigger. Yes, from three.
Check out Vandy Hoops on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Hey, Nashville, Trey Wingo here. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode. Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. We'll be joined by Predators General Manager David Poile coming up here in just a few minutes at 8:30. So looking forward to that conversation with him. The Predators in action last night with a 2-1 win against the Calgary Flames. Joe, it was a game where heading into it, you're down 7 points in the wild card race to the Flames. You needed to have it. The Predators got it last night. 2 big goals in the first period, one by Roman Josi, the other by Juuso Parssinen. That was all the offense last night for the Predators, but they hold on. I thought they defended well for the most part, and UC Saros, once again, was really good in net for the Nashville Predators. So a big win last night for the Preds, and they'll be back at it tonight as they take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. And to help us talk more about the Predators, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Predators General Manager David Poile. David, good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. Always good after a win last night. That was a real important win for us. Calgary's a little bit ahead of us in the in the standings, and it's a classic 4-point game. So happy with the result. We fought real hard last night. It was really close. Those are the type of games that you're going to have to win down the stretch. I mean, a little bit like a playoff game, you know. So all good. So we go again tonight against Columbus with that makeup game. So a lot of games here in a few days.
Yeah, no question about that. So, David, we talked about this earlier on the show, but just the emergence of Cody Glass and Juuso Parssinen. Parsonen's got points in 7 straight games. Glass playing with Forsberg and Duchesne last night. Let's start on the Parssinen front, because obviously a later draft pick for you guys. When did you know that you might have something special with Juuso Parssinen with the skill set and the size and the speed that he brings to the table?
Well, there's a little bit of good scouting, of course, and a little bit of luck, I guess, you know, drafting him. He was a 7th-round pick, and there's not that many 7th-round picks that make it to the National Hockey League. But he had some injuries that year, and the coverage was, you know, not probably as much as it should have been by some other clubs. But, you know, he just, you know, got, you know, bigger, stronger, I guess you'd say, filled out physically, and he really has a determination to play, and we saw that a little bit when we brought him over to Milwaukee at the end of last year. But you know, we really felt that he probably needs some time. But at training camp, he was just terrific. I mean, as I say, his drive, his compete, his size. I mean, he went from a boy, if you will, to a man pretty quickly. So I think, in all fairness to him, he probably was good enough to start the season, but we felt that the road to Nashville is always through Milwaukee, and you know, with our slow start and what have you, we needed to make some changes, and we gave a young player like him a chance, and he has not disappointed. He's been really good, and the coaches are using him a lot in different situations. Playing the power play, and he gets a goal last night. So he looks like the real thing. I mean, size, strength, got the big engine. What I mean by that is that he looks like he can play a lot of minutes, which is going to be really important, you know, as he becomes a better player. But he certainly looks like a player that could fit into our top 6 very soon, and for sure a guy that we probably want to build around in the future.
Well, and of course, speaking of injuries, David, obviously Cody Glass, well documented, certainly a very different story, right? Very high profile player, huge expectations, injuries. And we know the story of him, making the team this year and the behind the scenes, look at all that. But of course, he's had his ups and downs during the season as well. How have you seen him kind of navigate through that to the point where, you know, I thought last night that line with Glass, Forsberg, Duchesne was really good and got the better of the Huberdeau line?
Yeah, just to me, it's sort of like the analogy be who's going to win the race, the tortoise or the hare. I mean, it's just a very slow, you know, progress. You know, it's like a step forward and a couple steps forward and step back. And you know, earlier in the year, John Hines tried Glass higher in the lineup, and it just seemed to be too rich for him at at the time. And I guess that's what I mean by a couple steps forward and one step back. But he seems to be, just getting a little bit more confident. I mean, the more we play in, the more games that he gets into, getting, some equal play in the power play, if you will. And now, like last night, as you said, moving up in the lineup and doing a real good job. Arguably one of the more important games of the year, and he was a center ice of our top line. So really like how he's coming along, and you look to the to the future, and you got two young kids now, Parson and Glass, playing at center. They both look like they have some offensive instincts, and I like that in terms of what a manager does in terms of his planning. So just got to be, I guess, patient with Cody, and just keep putting him out there and keep giving him a little bit more responsibility, and hopefully he can build off of a game like last night and start getting a few more points and just contributing a little bit more. But very happy with his progress.
Predators general manager David Poyle with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So David, I mean, obviously after a player gets traded, there's an adjustment period that takes place for everybody, and that adjustment period is different for different people. With Ryan McDonough and playing alongside Roman Josi over the course of the past few weeks, with the way that he's played, is this what you envisioned from him once you made the trade with Tampa Bay?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's our top pair now, with Josi playing over on the right side, and McDonough gets the tougher minutes where he doesn't play on a power play. But he gets all the penalty killing minutes, and last night on a 5-on-3, which was certainly could have changed the game when we had two men in the penalty box there in the third period. He was part of two or three guys that did a great job, and there was a couple of shot blocks that it takes talent and skill to get there, and then for sure it takes a lot of courage to get in front of somebody's slap shot. And he sacrificed again last night, and one of the key reasons why we held on to that 2-1 win. So, again, the bigger the games get, the better I think McDonough plays. And, all he probably cares about right now is finding a way for the Preds to get to the playoffs, and let's see what can happen.
David, it's some interesting comments yesterday from John Hines talking about UC Saros and about how he has emerged and kind of improved at playing the puck. That was an offseason point of emphasis. Obviously, we all know what Pekka Rinne used to do, around the net. How have you seen that evolve from him? And I guess just where do you think he is right now as a player relative to other great stretches of his career?
It's hard to think that there's anything but saying that he is having the best stretch of his career. I mean, right now he's the best goaltender in the National Hockey League. Last year he was one of three for the Vezina, which is the trophy for the best goaltender in the league, and he's playing fantastic. I mean, his quickness, I don't know, he just does something better every night. And I know it's the cliche of all cliches, but talk about somebody giving you a chance to win. He's been just spectacular. As you mentioned, Pekka was really good, handling the puck. That has not been Juice's strength, though he's been more aggressive to get out to stop those pucks behind the net and to try to make some plays to either a defense or forwards. And that's just part of the maturity of his game, and just doing those things more. But main thing I like is he stops the puck a lot, and you can see that with his save percentages, one of the highest of all the goalies in the league now. For a team that's, we haven't, we need to be more productive. We have to bring some more offense, and if we can get that going with Juice in net, we get a good chance to win every night.
David Poyle with us here on Robby and Rexrode, brought to you by Coleman Tractor in Tennessee, Tennessee's largest Kubota dealer. So, David, we talked to you last week about the trading deadline and how maybe it's too early to get an accurate sense for what exactly that's going to look like, especially with the cap situation. I am curious, though, like beyond the obvious of the wins and the losses, when you're at a spot where you guys are at the standings right now, what as a general manager are you looking at beyond the wins, beyond the points, that helps you determine the direction you're going to go once the trade deadline does come around?
Well, I think the job of the managers, obviously you have your day-to-day preparation, goals, what you're trying to accomplish, and then that goes for specifically for this season. And then I think there's always planning for the future. I'm a guy that really likes to look at a 3 to 5 year plan in terms of, you know, what we have, what we need, all those different situations. We just had our scouting meetings that we have. It seems like most teams have them at this time of year. It's kind of a combination on the pro side for the preparation for the trading deadline, and also for July 1st, which is free agency, and it's also for the amateurs side, getting ready for the entry draft. So, you know, with all my people, if you will, management and our scouts, I mean, we go over a lot of things like that in terms of the, you know, carving out a specific direction of the club and what our goals are, what our needs are, all those types of things. So, specifically to your beginning of your question, like when you asked last week about the trading deadline, I think that's still way too early. I mean, you're always open to doing something, and I guess if you're trying to do something, you'd like to be one of the first ones that can do that. This year is going to be difficult, like I said last year, because of how many teams are so close to the cap. And then the second thing, of course, is the parity part, where, you know, there's, you know, how many you know, sellers are there versus how many buyers are there. And to me, it's, you know, come to the trading deadline, where are we going to be? You know, right now we're like 3 or 4 points, you know, behind the teams that are in the playoffs. I feel that we'll probably be 3 or 4 points in the playoffs, or maybe 3 or 4 points out of the playoffs at the trading deadline. So it's not going to be really a clear picture. So I think in doing this show, you probably should ask me every week that question. But I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to happen too significantly until after the All-Star break, and that's pretty soon. I mean, we got, you know, a couple of weeks here, then we go have the All-Star game, and then I think that we come back and play like February 7th. Then you have like just a little under maybe 3.5 weeks to go, and I think that's when the action will start picking up in a more serious vein.
Okay, I have another weekly question for you, David. Philip Tomasino, playing well in Milwaukee. Any new thoughts on him potentially being in this lineup?
I would say that's on my mind every day also, in terms of we're time and the place. And, you know, a few things are in my head too. If we're going to do this, like, I'm trying to say this in the right way. Like, there's some people that you call up and it's just to fill in a little bit, and then you send them, you know, back down, and it's not a thought process in terms of a full-time situation. I think in treating, you know, Phil Tomasino, when we do this, and I don't want to be totally held to what I'm going to say right now, but it would be better if we could bring him up and keep him up. You know, that's what I would be thinking, to play him in a full-time position. And also, I'd like to play him in a higher position than where he played last year. So, you know, he's got to keep playing well, and then we have to, you know, commit to, you know, being able to give him that opportunity on a more of a full-time basis. So, you know, when that's going to happen, I'm not sure, but it's a nice player to have, if you will. You know, when you talk about the trading deadline, like, why go out and acquire, say, a forward when we have a Phil Tomasino that we have to give an opportunity to?
David Poyle, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode, joins us every Tuesday morning at 8:30. David, as you said, lots of hockey to be played. Back at it tonight at Bridgestone Arena. Appreciate you making time to join us this morning, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Predators General Manager David Poyle, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode, brought to you by Coleman Tractor, Tennessee's largest Kubota dealer. We'll take your thoughts, 615-737-1025. It's also that time of the day. Time for Pred's Pick to Click. Be the first caller at 615-737-1025. If you guess a goal scored tonight for the Predators, you'll win a pair of tickets to a future Nashville Predators home game. We'll get to that coming up next. But first, Joe Rexrode has a word from our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook.
Yes, I do, because the NFL playoffs are, of course, heating up. Got an awesome weekend ahead, folks. And with FanDuel, every play is a rush, because new customers can join today, bet the divisional round with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. All you got to do is sign up with promo code Joe102. If I was joining FanDuel with a $150 bet, this is a heck of a weekend. But I think I would like the Chiefs. I think we're gonna have 3 great games, and I really feel good about the Chiefs coming off their bye playing the Jags. America's #1 sportsbook has all your favorite bets from the money line, point spread, player prop scores. You can combine them also for a bigger payout with the same game parlay. It's safe, it's secure, it's easy to use, so don't miss out. $5 bet, $150 in free bets, win or lose with promo code Joe102. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And you must be 21 or older in present Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
Every Wednesday at 8:45. Join Robby and Rexrode for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:45 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year. It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. This year especially, we know price matters, and we're committed to delivering the best value every day. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2023 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
Sometimes he gets lonely and needs some company.
10 for 17 for 45 yards in his career with 1 interception.
This is one of those years where it's a step back for them.
And that'll create more one-on-one situations and make it easier for him to throw the ball down the field.
It's Stillman and Company.
You've got real talent.
With Jared Stillman, weekdays from 2 to 6 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. It's time for Pred's Picks to click.
And a shot at the score.
Do you think you know who will score a goal in tonight's Predators game?
Little give and go.
Shoot your shot for a chance to win Pred's tickets. Call 615-737-1025 now. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are preferred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. It's Pick to Click, now on Robby and Rexrode.
And it is that time of the day, time for Pred's Pick to Click here on Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. Pred's back in action tonight at home, taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Pregame at 6 o'clock, puck drop at 7 o'clock here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. No changes in the standings yesterday. The listeners and myself still in first place with 10 correct answers apiece. Joe Rexrode with 9 correct answers, and Michelle Knezovic with 7 correct answers. So same standings as yesterday heading into the competition tonight. With that in mind, let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com and welcome in Rick. Rick, thanks for calling in. Who is your pick to click tonight for the Nashville Predators?
I've got to go with Philip Forsberg.
going with Philip Forsberg. Rick, thanks for calling in. We appreciate it.
You bet.
So Rick going with Forsberg tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Joe, I am up next in the competition, and this one's tough for me. I'm gonna take a little bit of a flyer, and I'm gonna go Cody Glass. More of a distributor of the puck, but I'm going Cody Glass. So Forsberg and Glass off the board. Joe Rexrode, you're up next. Your pick to click for the Nashville Predators.
Well, by the way, if they decide that last night's Yossi goal was actually Glass, which I swear it was, but they didn't give it to him, then that doesn't count. So you don't get that. I just want that to be clear.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Just check it.
I know you try to cheat a lot in this, so I just want to make sure that we have clear ground rules.
Thank you.
This is tough.
This is the part where Joe talks himself through the entire roster.
Yeah. I'm gonna stay consistent. I swear he always zigs when I zag and vice versa. But I'm gonna stick with Matt Duchene. He was close last night, and it's his former team. There are a lot of teams that are his former team, but this is one of his former teams.
Yeah.
And he'll get a goal against him.
There we go. So Forsberg, Glass, and Duchene off the board. Michelle Knezovic, your pick to click for the Nashville Predators.
The one day I'm going to pick Cody Glass. I'm like, nobody's going to pick him in my head. And then Robbie's like, yeah, I'm going to go with Cody Glass. Didn't think that one would be off the board. Okay, I'm going to go with, I think he's due for another one soon, Nino Niederreiter.
Okay. Going with Nino Niederreiter tonight against Columbus. So the pick-to-click selections today, Philip Forsberg, Cody Glass, Matt Duchene, and Nino Niederreiter. Preds pick-to-click brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. By the way, speaking of the Nashville Predators, I got some tickets to give away to see the Preds take on the New Jersey Devils coming up at Bridgestone Arena on Thursday, January the 26th. Be caller number 5, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Caller number 5 will win a pair of tickets to see the Preds take on Jack Hughes and the New Jersey Devils at Bridgestone Arena next Thursday, January the 26th, 615-737-1025. Preds back in action tonight, Joe. Team like Columbus, which is at the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings, need to get this one tonight, get 2 points at home. It was a great win last night for you. That's a team you're fighting with in the standings. You can't then follow that up and lose to a team you have no business losing to tonight.
Oh, no question. And you gotta get back on the positive momentum side of things. Overall, I like how they played last night. And I think David Poyle said it well. It was kind of like they fought really hard. They also, they had opportunities to open that game up, and you got to cash in more. But I just thought Saros was just tremendous. The 5-on-3 that turns into a 4-on-3 with the high stick, he had a flurry there where it's just like, I don't even know what's going on, but he's like, how the heck is he moving that fast? And it's just, he's something to behold. But of course, tonight you go to Lankinen, who also has been very good, and just huge games coming up, huge games every other day, and it's a huge game basically after this one. But you got to pick up these 2 points that should be there for you against the Blue Jackets.
No question about it, and we'll see if the Predators can do that tonight as they take on the Columbus Blue Jackets at home. Joe, some news on the NFL front, and this coming from Tom Pelissero. The Cleveland Browns hiring Jim Schwartz as their defensive coordinator. So Jim Schwartz has been with the Titans the last couple of years as a defensive assistant. He is now going back to being a defensive coordinator in the National Football League. And according to Tom Pelissero, Cleveland, the place for him. Jim Schwartz hired as the Browns defensive coordinator.
Very interesting. So he wants back in. He got in a big way. According to, I don't know if it was Pelissero, I just saw somebody, Brian Flores among the other candidates he beat out for that job. So, that's a good job. They have a lot of talent on defense.
Yep.
They have a talented roster in general, but that's I know you're signing up to go against Burrow, but it's the NFL. You're gonna see somebody tough in your division unless you happen to go to the NFC South.
May not be signing up to see Lamar. Who knows?
That's true. That's a fair point. That is true. So it'll be interesting, and of course, it's one of those things that Cleveland does great next year, and if the Titans defense falls off, then we'll go back and say, so Jim Schwartz was the secret sauce all along. I mean, the guy is very accomplished, DC, and I thought he was actually a pretty good head coach. I mean, it's not his fault. I guess he didn't have to take the job with the Lions, but he was head coach of the Lions. Like, I actually thought he was a pretty good coach, and he got lionized like everybody does eventually.
Still really wish that he and Jim Harbaugh would have just squared up and just went after it at midfield that day.
Well, and that could have happened next year in the league, but Harbaugh
it's going back.
Played it. Harbaugh played it well. It's weird because, like, apparently the AD and Harbaugh, with the AD, of course, who cut his pay down, Harbaugh, I assume, is getting all his money back now that he got docked for the 2020 season, and good for Michigan for keeping him. But I'll go back on that, by the way. Clearly, like, his agent was out there telling everybody that he was serious about taking an NFL job. I don't think that it was total BS. I mean, I know some people are going to look at this like he was just playing Michigan for more money. I think there was genuine interest in the NFL, but to the president of Michigan's credit, you pay to keep your winning football coach, and that's what you have to do.
Real quickly, we've got about a minute left. What do you make of this Lamar situation in Baltimore? There's some hurt feelings there. I think it's pretty clear. What do you make of everything that has transpired to this point and what it can mean for Lamar Jackson?
Well, he put out a post, and I don't have it in front of me, but it was sort of like, this is why you treat – it was like a real cryptic post that made it sound to me like a guy who's leaving Baltimore. And I don't know if that's true or not, but clearly this has gone sideways a bit. Again, I absolutely do not buy that his absence in the playoffs is anything but the knee. But the future with him and the Ravens certainly looks shaky. And boy, that's a really interesting one around this league. If Lamar Jackson, and of course, there's the tag. I mean, there's a lot of different ways this could go, but I think it is very possible he's somewhere else.
Well, we could have a few weeks of Brady to the Titans or maybe Lamar to the Titans discussion. Who knows?
Is tomorrow Lamar to the Titans Day? Today was Brady to the Titans Day.
I'm just saying.
And then Rodgers is the day after that.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe we'll just have to keep it rolling. That does it for us today here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll be back at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Chase and Michelle up next. This is 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute. Does